Boom. What is up, brother?
What's up?
We're on. We're live. We're doing this. Let's go. Man, it's been a minute since I recorded one of these, but for those of you who are listening for the first time, might not even know who the heck we are. Maybe you sold books, maybe you did not. Let me give you a quick recap. I'll tell you who we have here today on the podcast, and then we'll jump right in. So, we are the Ponytails Podcast. We interview people who sold books door to door. Yes, you heard that right. Books that you open and read door to door. Educational resources for families that are all over the country. Now, there's a company in Nashville called Southwestern Advantage. They recruit college kids to go do this job for college credit, travel opportunity, and of course, build a resume. So, about 150,000 living people supposedly have done this program. We have so far been talking to at least 250 plus, and we asked them about the experience of selling these books for 80 hours a week for 12 weeks of the summer on straight commission with no guarantees and usually without a place to live to begin with.
Yeah.
It's been a ride. And if you want to hear some ridiculous stories, this one and all of our other episodes will have some for you. We catch up with the folks who are doing this, see what they're up to now, see how that experience was good for them, bad for them, neutral to them, where it's taken them, and how it's impacted their careers or their personal life or both. So, with me today, I have an old friend now. I met you, so it would have been my first summer would have been 2012. So we met maybe my second, like we just kind of overlap by those last 2 years, right?
Just a little. I was kind of finishing up. You were just getting started. Probably bumped into each other like sales school, Sizzler, key persons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
GRG.
GRS,
Yeah.
GRG, stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, I never went to GRG, so I had to mention
GRS.
this.
Yeah. So,
uh,
stuff like that.
by the way,
Yeah.
those are a lot of acronyms. We'll try to throw some of those definitions and explain them as they come up because you'll notice there's a lot of Southwesternisms that come up in here. So, but let me give you
That's every industry. There's lingo.
yeah. Okay, so let me tell people who we're talking to. So Brandan Tobin is with me. He is currently living in Tennessee in Jonesboro. Sold for 6 summers from 2008 to 2013 with the Red Line organization. Hello, love a good red line connection. You guys were the coolest. Um, Brandon went to Berkeley University and then was originally from Hanford, California. And right now, he is the CRO of Knowledge Gap Consulting, which is a CRM design and implementation company. His favorite scroll from the Augmentino greatest salesman in the world is number three. I will persist until I succeed. And Brandon is a believer in Christ and a humble salesman. Good callback to that Augmentino. I love that. His mission is to expand God's kingdom by helping good people grow great businesses and increase their charitable giving. As the CRO with Knowledge Gap Consulting, excuse me, Brandon leads the sales team and is still in the field, helping salespeople and entrepreneurs convert more leads in less time with custom built AI powered CRM solutions. Over his nearly 20-year career in sales and business, Brandon built sales teams and sold for a variety of industries, including mortgage, real estate, solar, SaaS, software, and of course, good old books, educational books. He hit the double.
Books, as Dan Moore used to say.
Love that. He hit double growth award in his second summer, which means he gave himself about a $2,200 raise for just over the summer, and quadruple growth, which is about $4,500. Um, after his third summer, delivering over 8,000 units for you guys doing the math. Today, a unit is worth about $9. So we're talking like, whoa, over $70,000, about $72,000 in 12 weeks of a summer. He hit chairman's and PC several times. As a 19-year-old sophomore and B manager or second year person, Brendan helped lead a group of 22 first years and only three other managers also in their second year, and not a single person quit. If you did not do this program, you have no idea how massively impressive that is. And
At least half the people quit in like any door-to-door profession.
yeah,
Like two-thirds quit.
yeah. If you had 70% retention, you're like, wow, that was a great year. You
Exactly.
had 100% retention, which is nuts with a group that big. Then he went on to close more than $7 million of annually recurring revenue as an account executive for various tech companies until partnering with Joe Ignis, who we've had on the show a couple of times now, actually.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
and now they sell their own software, Velocity 360. None of it came easily and or naturally. And he will be the first to tell you that none of it would have been possible without the grace of God being coachable, and really great mentor. So I appreciate the humility in that intro, by the way, brother. That was speaks a lot about you.
Thanks, man.
Honored to have you, my man. How are you?
It's a pleasure to be here.
Dude, so let's just jump right in. This is the first question I've had over the last like 20 episodes. I always ask it, sometimes jokingly, sometimes seriously, and people answer it both jokingly or
Yeah.
seriously. But were we in a cult?
Were we in a cult? Ooh, I think it depends on your organization. Probably mostly yes. Probably mostly yes. But the way I put it is I had a dirty brain. Like I was toxically negative, sarcastic. I needed a little bit of positive brainwashing. That was good for me. That's what I signed up for. It's what I signed up for.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes you needed a little bit of a lot of people have said it was a cult, but it was a good one. If there's a cult that teaches
exactly.
positivity, it's like, well,
Right. You can't be mad
can't be
about
too
that.
bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair enough. All right, well, let's dig in. Talk to me about the Velocity 360. How did you first of all, how did you end up there? Maybe do like a brief highlight reel of the last 9 years that kind of led you to
Sure.
this.
Yeah.
And then I'll ask some more about the CRM tool because that's actually pretty useful in today's world and especially with AI and stuff. So I'm excited to dig into that too. But let's just catch up in the last few years.
Yeah. I'll uh I'll get back to the CRM AI stuff and just kind of say like post Southwestern what happened because it was really interesting. Like part of the reason I thought I was going to work there forever. Honestly, like I remember at the end of
Same here.
my first sales school. I remember my first sales school. Ron Alford had me and my roommates in his office, and he's like, "Look at your roommates right now. Commit to each other. You're not going to quit on each other. Like once you cross this line, like you're sticking together the whole summer, no matter what." And I was like, Ron, don't offend me. I'll be here as long as you are, if not longer.
Yeah.
And true to my word, like a year or two after he retired to go work at Southwestern Consulting, I was still there a year or two after he left. Uh, but anyway, after Southwestern, sold suits for a little while at Tom James.
Nice.
Uh,
Okay.
that was an awesome experience. I finally got in shape for the first time in my life. I decided like, oh, I should probably be like a healthy, fit person if I'm going to be selling personal appearance.
Yeah.
So that was a good experience. Kind of got recruited away to go work with one of my old student managers selling software for the first time at Thomson Reuters.
Oh,
Shout outs
cool.
to Colleen Haupt. Shout outs to Mama C. We used to call her. And from there, did a couple different things: solar, mostly software. Dipped my toe into mortgages when rates were super duper low. That was cool. I
Good
did
times.
technically you're not supposed to do your mortgage for your own house, but basically I did it and it was just like under the broker's license or whatever. But I basically learned enough to do the mortgage for my own house and like not get ripped off. So that was like
Nice.
a good life skill to learn.
No doubt.
Um, but mostly I was selling software in there, and eventually, uh, thanks to Southwestern again, actually, like part of the reason I was bought in was the alumni aspect of almost like a fraternity where people will try to recruit you just based on your experience.
Mhm.
I remember kind of floating around to different things that I got a friend that told me to go to. But the first time I went on Indeed and just struck out on my own, I was like, I'm going to go find my own thing. Nothing to do with Southwestern, right? And it was like my first big paying, nice software sales job. And the first guy I talked to had done door to door sales for like cable for AT&T or something. And
Nice.
he heard about the Southwestern stuff on my resume. And he told every single manager after that, he's like, I want this guy. I want him in my team. Let me have this guy on my team.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, the Southwestern stuff coming in clutch again. And like I
Resume
negotiated,
building. It's
dude,
so
I
good.
it was so easy. I asked for extra stock and they were like, we can't do that. But here's a $10,000 starting bonus.
Sure.
I was like, okay, that'll be fine too.
Great. Great.
And from there, it was a Southwestern connection. A guy that had sold for 5 summers got me in at Bill.com, which was a wonderful, wild ride where it was going public at around that time. So I had like all these shares from before it went public and then sold them like at the peak during the 2021 craziness, when stock market went wild. So that was great. Anyway, sold for a few other software companies to like larger and larger enterprises and felt like I wasn't helping anybody anymore. It was like more expensive software to larger, enterprise size companies. So I wanted to get into sales coaching and consulting and checked out a few different options until I met Joe Ignis and figured out what he was doing at the Knowledge Gap. So anyway, long story short, long story still long. That's how we ended up where we're at in Tennessee. working with Joe, and we pivoted from sales training and consulting to software. I think I was like part of that influence because I had such a software background, and it was something that came up with our clients a lot. They would ask us to teach them how to use it, to set up their automations, to do their outreach sequences and nurture stuff, all that. And
Mhm.
we didn't like what we had anyway. We had HubSpot. It was really expensive. We were still paying for Calendly and DocuSign and some other things and integrating them. So we found something that we liked better, and we were able to build on it ourselves. And now it's just like totally our own thing that we've run away with, and that's what Velocity 360 is. And I love using it, man. After like a career of using Salesforce and complaining about it, it's so awesome to use my own thing and love
Yeah.
it and believe in it. So
So
it feels good.
So, well, we use Hotspot, and I looked into Salesforce, and I've looked into, so I'm relatively familiar as far as just like any other entrepreneur
Yeah,
who's needed services like this. But there are people out there listening in the book world where a CRM is a very new concept idea
sure.
because that wasn't part of something that was handled when we were selling books. That was kind of more like
Oh no, right?
I mean, we were learning to quote run our own businesses, but really the company kept the CRM. We had
Exactly.
clients who were just a broker, right? So,
Right,
can you explain, uh, like I'm five, what a CRM is? To because
right.
there's like there's people listening who are like, what is it? They can't even spell CRM. No offense to you guys.
Sure. So everybody's got one, whether they realize it or not. It's like your address book and your phone. People used to call it a Rolodex, or that old folks had paper calendars and stuff like that, where they would write people's names and addresses and phone numbers. They would write this stuff down with pen and paper. So anyway, a CRM is a client relationship manager system. That's the CRM. And that's one of my big regrets from selling books was not keeping some kind of database of my customers because there was tons of them. You connect with them.
Yeah,
We're like, oh, we're going to be friends forever. We're going to keep in touch. We're going to check in, see how the kids are doing. And I had no system to store all that in. Right? You had like your little receipt books, and
yeah,
that was about it. Southwestern keeps the rest of the names and phone numbers of potential host families and customers and whatnot. And maybe I just had a couple saved in my phone that I
same.
texted and emailed. So
Same.
like, if I'd had even a Google spreadsheets or a Zoho or something small and simple, maybe I would have kept in touch with some of them better. Um, but anyway, that's what it is. The way it helps for business, obviously, is like, man, we had a client that had like 14,000 customers from selling really cool military tactical gear and stuff like that online, like nice high priced stuff. And he had never emailed any of them. Like he didn't have a CRM. He just did ads. He would just pay for brand new customers every single month, just
Crazy.
shelling out to Google and
Which is
Meta. And
great. It got him 14,000 of them.
it still worked. And I was like, but
Something
dude,
to that.
you've got 100 products. Like, have you ever thought to maybe just write an email for free, basically, to your other 13,000 customers who didn't buy that particular product? I was like, let me help you do that.
Yeah, because that's gonna help.
So that's,
So,
that's the value.
long story short is you use a CRM to manage all of the people that have bought or could buy from you that
Exactly.
have shown interest. And there are so many
Yeah.
different implications to that we can even
Right.
dig in. Some of which we can maybe highlight when I'm about with
Sure.
what I'm about to ask you, which is, uh, what did you not like about Salesforce or HubSpot
Mm.
that you guys are solving? And I know this sounds like a weighted question, but we are not sponsored by Velocity 360. But we could be.
Could be.
But how does it work? Because HubSpot is expensive, but it's super powerful.
Right.
Salesforce is less expensive, just a lot more clunky. So I get
Oh, dude,
where you
Salesforce is way more expensive.
I
Salesforce,
guess nowadays
yeah,
probably yeah.
it's only affordable, I would say, for like pretty large companies.
Corporations, yeah. Well, I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
exactly.
back in the day it was when it was still up and coming.
Maybe.
HubSpot
Yeah,
was the big boy or whatever.
yeah.
But talking
There's other small ones out there too, like Monday and Zoho. Like there's a lot of
ClickUp,
general, yeah, ClickUp, Constant Contact. There's a really cheap small one called Less Annoying CRM that I kind of like the name. I think
that's
that's
a great
cute.
name.
It's a great name. So there's a lot of like general purpose ones that are maybe good for uh, emailing or keeping in touch with your clients or tracking your sales pipeline. And then there's others that are a little bit more like for the operational side of things. Like I work with a lot of folks in roofing and the service industries. So there's a lot of usage of like Jobber and House Call Pro and even things like Job Nimbus, where that does some stuff that we don't have any interest in touching. Like it'll measure how many squares a roof needs. It'll like, measure how much material that needs to be ordered. It's very much about the operational, like fulfilling the job or fulfilling the service. We're more like the top of the funnel, where we want to help somebody, send text messages, send voicemails, send emails, make phone calls, track their sales pipeline, have a funnel to get more business, to get more revenue. So there's kind of different schools of thought there, and I would say we're more like a Mailchimp or on steroids. More like a Salesforce or more like a HubSpot. And I would say the things I didn't like about Salesforce, to answer your question, is one, it was really big and slow. A lot of the corporate environments I worked in, there was many users, hundreds, maybe thousands of users, and so many custom objects and so many custom fields, and like massively big differences between the departments all using it. So it could take 30 seconds to load a page. And when you're a salesperson managing 50 opportunities in your pipeline, and that's pretty much all managers do in software sales companies, is get on your butt about your pipeline. Like, what are the next steps? Keep your pipeline updated. What's your forecast? What's going to close? Make me look good. There's a lot of that, from management in SaaS software sales companies. Uh, and the main thing they want you to do with it is to update your pipeline, and it takes 30 seconds to a minute every time you click something or load something. It's so painful.
Yeah.
So anyway, I
HubSpot did
finally,
have that problem for sure too.
yeah, I finally found something called Scratchpad that would just open a new tab and integrate with Salesforce, and it was just like a plain text document that integrated with your Salesforce pipeline. So that helped me keep some sanity. And I would tell any software sales reps out there, anybody using Salesforce, check out Scratchpad.ai. That made the pipeline management suck less. But I also thought it was dumb that they had to integrate with Outreach or SalesLoft or something to do email sequences and templates and things like that. Like you couldn't change much in Salesforce without the admin's permission, and the admin couldn't change much without somebody that worked for Salesforce that had a PhD in Salesforce. Like they were just so complicated. So we loved HubSpot because it was powerful. It was like a lot of those things in one: pipeline management, the marketing stuff. It cut out like the outreach or sales loft or other things that we might have needed. Um, Even handled, social media and automations and forms, and it's really robust. HubSpot is
Yeah,
pretty
it's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah.
It's pretty sick. Like we loved it,
It's
but it
expensive.
it got really, dude. They're kind of proud of that stuff over there, man. When they're charging you like 1,000 or 1,000 bucks a month, for we had a handful of users because we wanted to use the marketing and the sales stuff.
Mhm.
When we work
Yeah,
with a
because
lot,
they
a lot of
price it, each service is priced differently,
exactly,
and if you wanna bundle it, then it costs more or whatever, it just depends on
yeah,
what you're doing.
and even contacts. Like I don't think there's even a unlimited contacts
No,
option.
it's I
They
think up to
charge like another,
1,000 for the yeah,
yeah, they charge like another 50 bucks a month per 1,000 contacts that
something
you
like
add.
that, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So anyway, we have something that's just as powerful, has all the same stuff as HubSpot, plus a lot of things that we've been able to add and build onto it, like uh, AI chatbots, LinkedIn direct messenger, kind of automatic stuff. So pretty cool stuff that's not in like a HubSpot or a Go High Level, a vanilla version of it. And we don't charge an arm and a leg either. Like we're trying to help small businesses. Like we want to help our local community win more. I didn't want to help Goliath continue to crush, everything around it, right? I didn't want to help big companies. We wanted to help the Davids and give them some slingshots, give them better technology at an affordable price to compete with the big dogs. Uh, yeah, so we have unlimited contacts. We've got packages from 50 to maybe 500 bucks a month at the most, and that would be for dozens of users. Dozens of users. All the features are pretty much available with almost all the packages. So that's another kind of gotcha that they'll have with like the freemium trap, I
Mhm.
call it, where each new thing you want to do, like all the new features are behind some paywall, but we just kind of give it all in one package.
Well, heck, you might have
Yeah,
yourself a new client here.
cool.
So
We'll see. Hopefully,
so let me ask you this.
yeah.
When you say you do all the things HubSpot does, I mean, the HubSpot does a lot of stuff. So, is there like a flagship service that you guys offer that you're like, this is our strength? We have all these other services. Like, for example, so I don't
Sure.
know if I even announced this on this actual podcast, but Ponytails is I do this, but it pays some of the bills for some of the revenue we get from ads and stuff. But my main full job is podcast production and video marketing production. Uh,
Cool.
so uh, I'm only saying all that because as I we can do like if someone has like, hey, can you do a documentary of me and my company? Yeah, we can do that, no problem. But that's not our flagship product. My flagship
Hmm.
product is if you're an entrepreneur, you don't have time to start a podcast,
Nice.
but you want to start a podcast and all you want to do is sit down, do your recording, and just know that it's going to get professionally done and uploaded and stuff. We do that. That's like our main flagship. We do a
Mhm.
bunch of other stuff to not leave money on the table because it'd be stupid to not offer an email marketing
Right.
campaign, right?
Yeah.
But and we outsource some of that stuff. So for you guys, when it comes to versus Salesforce, HubSpot, or even some of the other CRM tools that exist, what is like the one thing that you guys are like, this is, we do all sorts of stuff, but this is the bread and butter that just
Yeah.
solves so many headaches, or we found that our clients just came over because of this.
Yeah. Good question. I would say the flagship product or service that we offer is a full build out of a sales process with automations and AI that help to also generate more leads and help them close more leads faster. So whether that's like nurturing existing clients or reaching out to total strangers, through cold avenues and turning those strangers into friends, into customers. Uh, so lead generation, getting appointments to book for them, and really like getting their whole sales process together, building that out has been kind of our unique selling proposition, because we actually partner with a lot of other marketing companies that do more creative stuff, where it's creating content, more audio, more visual, or even website design, or ads, or something that generates leads some other way, and then the customer, their end client has no good follow up, right? Like their speed to lead is terrible. They don't have a replicatable process. Everyone's doing something different. They have no visibility. So the same marketing company could be given the same quality leads to two different clients, one with a 50% close rate, one with a 5% close rate. And the crappy ones blaming the marketing company, the good ones giving all the credit to the marketing company. And really, it's like the difference can be their follow up system, their sales system.
Got it.
And
Makes
and
sense.
and so marketing companies don't want to build that stuff. Maybe they'll say, "Here's my HubSpot or my Go High Level like affiliate link. Go ahead and sign yourself up." But they don't want to build that stuff. They'd rather outsource it.
That makes sense. And so who would be the ideal, again, to put this more into Southwestern terms, like we
Mm,
sold to moms with kiddos who were young, but that wasn't the main target, right? The bread and butter was you got a middle school, high schooler, one of them does well in school,
right.
the other one struggles with math, and they're both wanting to go to college. So like that was your like,
Mhm.
this is the family I want to
Right.
say. So who's like that ideal avatar client? Like if I'm listening to this going, would this be the company I need to handle my CRM? I've been actually looking into this. Who's like your mom with 3 kids in middle school and high school who are
Yeah,
going to college?
that's a good question. I would say other marketing companies that do website design or do PPC ads, some kind of valuable service for their clients, but they don't really want to get into the CRM business. They want to stay out of that, and maybe their clients are asking for it. Especially if they have clients that are in professional services industries, kind of like accountants, attorneys, somebody where they don't have like a ton of products or materials, but it's a high ticket like service kind of a sale, where it's the relationship and the conversations, is really what everything's built on. Because that's what we can help out with the most, I would say, is like business to business selling, high ticket professional services, and marketing companies that work with those types. Medical, something we might get into at some point. We could build like a HIPAA compliant version, but that's like in the distant future. I think
Yeah.
right now we're focused on like insurance, accountants, attorneys, other people in marketing that don't want to do CRM.
And the way that would work is I sign up, I go, "Hey, I want to use your service." Then what's the journey like for me? Like, let's just use me as an example. "Hey, man, I have a,"
Sure.
let's just keep it for ponytails just to keep it simple. "Hey, I'm building
Sure.
an alumni network," which is in the process, by the way, for you, those of you. Southwestern's doing their own, and we're doing one too. That's
Nice.
awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm trying to gather
Hmm.
10,000 alumni, and I wanted to make it so I can uh, manage them in a way that contacts, you know, what now?
Sure. We'd probably have like a little bit of an interview process, kind of, to figure out exactly what your goals are, what your priorities
Yes.
are, what you want us to build. A
Yes.
bit of
It's
it.
tailor made.
Exactly. It's tailor made. We customize it to the business owner, to the business. There's a lot of CRMs out there. They're like, oh, we're industry specific. All bookkeepers could use us, or
Yeah.
all whatever, but it's not tailored to the business or the business owner,
Correct.
because some companies have one person trying to contact 10,000 people. And then some companies have 10 people that are just staying in touch with 100,
Yeah.
and it's totally different.
Totally different need. Yeah, okay. I love that. That's actually great. That's great because that is one thing about HubSpot where it's just so robust that it covers everybody. So like anybody could use it and actually would
Right.
be great for any business. But the problem is because of that diversity, and there's not really a person there helping you build it out. It's just kind of like you have to kind of like
Exactly.
learn it on your own. Versus, I'm assuming I join you and you're like, you're going to walk me through all the cool
Right.
things that I can or cannot do based on the tailored need that I had, which is much
Mhm.
different than the accountant that just hired you yesterday as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So once we
Very
kind of figure that out with you, right? Like through a discovery process and ultimately a scoping process before we figure out this is what you want, what you need, this is how we're going to do it. Uh, is everybody good with that? Okay, cool. And then I would get with our CRM automation design engineer, translate it, so he understands what he needs to be building, right? And then we would walk you through an onboarding process where you get to meet the onboarding team, uh, kind of recap, make sure everyone's on the same page, and then we'll have check-in meetings, where we're kind of showing you the engineering of the automations and what's going to do what, how to drive the thing, basically, and also give you a chance to have any corrections or revisions or input that you want on the content that we might come up with for like email, voicemail scripts, text
cool.
messaging, the copywriting kind of stuff.
Cool. And
Hmm.
so then, wow, that's really awesome. That's
Yeah,
like that's a very impressive, guys. You and Joe have done a great job. I don't know who else is involved, but great job.
it is super hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to this going, "Bro, that is rough." I mean, not
Right,
rough in a bad way. That's you're solving problems that are legitimate for small
right.
business owners because that's what happens is these companies, these CRMs have gotten so large and so there's so much money
Yeah.
going into them. They do so much in marketing because they're going after
Mhm.
big fish. I mean, they're a company
Right.
like Coca-Cola, and so nobody's talking to the hundreds of thousands of small little peewees who are like, "Hey, man, I don't need a $3,000 a month package. I'm just trying to like manage
Exactly.
to go to business or whatever." Like, I don't know. So,
Right.
so
Yeah, I had a buddy that was very frugal, very DIY, did not want an onboarding package, did not want us to do the engineering, to create it, to set it up for him, because that is like a couple thousand to a few $1,000s to set that up. But
yeah,
he was in the first year of his business and a good friend of mine locally. And he's like, hey, man, I have more time and I have interest in systems and want to set it up the right way and learn how to use it. He's like, could you just give me like the self paced course and the support videos and I'll figure it out myself? And oh, you froze. You coming back?
yeah, I'm
Okay,
here.
you're back.
Yeah,
Cool. Okay.
sorry. Hmm.
But no, he only took like a weekend to build most of it and then a week to build the rest of it to get it to do just what he wanted to do without a bunch of extra stuff, for big companies. It was one guy managing 40 clients. It was to streamline his onboarding process and it helped him get rid of like three other softwares he was paying for. And he was super happy and he ended up saving money.
Great, man. That's awesome. That is
Yeah.
super cool. Congrats, you guys are doing something awesome. So, I guess
Yeah.
let me ask you a little bit more about the features because I really think that it's important for there's people listening to this who are entrepreneurs who definitely need this. I've already done like four.
Everyone at
It's
least
pretty
needs to
tough.
talk about it. They at least
Yeah,
got to be thinking
it's
about
got to be.
some kind of system.
It's
Yeah.
you know why? It's because AI is coming,
Right.
and the more that you don't, the more resistant to it you are, the faster. Not just in distance, but like the rate at which you fall behind it grows.
Right.
So it's like if you're already like nervous about AI in your business and doing any of this stuff, CRM, you're already a mile behind and
Yeah.
you're dropping off by several miles per hour the more that you're
Hmm.
resistant to this. So I don't even know how to explain this. Like it's so vital to
Yeah.
people to really get this because
And
it's
and people don't
crazy.
they don't know what they want or need either. A lot of
They
times
don't know what they don't know.
they
Yeah.
don't have a process in the first place,
Yep.
much less a CRM, and we're
Mhm.
trying to help them build both together at the same time. It's easier to charge 100 times more to a bigger company because they already have a process. They already know what they want to do.
Yeah.
We actually need to go in and kind of extract from the business owner.
Yeah.
How do you do things? How would you like things
What
to work when
systems do
you
you use? Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
so many of our clients are the classic 60, 61-year-old guy that's just like, hey, I don't even need to show up to these meetings. Don't add me as a user. I'm going to pass this on to my kids or the youngsters that are basically running my business for me right now, like this is for them. It's just like a dad being like, "Kids, will you use them?" And the kids are like, "I already use a bunch of stuff like this. This is just everything in one place." And he's like, "Okay, makes sense."
Yeah.
It is just
Yeah.
like selling books.
It's also, yeah, and on top of that, like the way it's gonna change, with AI, like there's certain things that there's certain features that you offer now that you won't just because AI can do
Right.
something. So like just staying on top of it alone is important, and the fact that you guys are good at because that's the part the tailoring of it. AI can still do some of it, but the services and the education and the kind of knowledge gap that you're
Haha.
solving for
Yeah.
is that AI can't do, or it could, but it'd just be more complicated than just having a person
Right.
doing what you guys are doing, which is huge. So that's great.
And especially in the rural South, man. We are in like the northeast corner of Tennessee, kind of like in the Appalachian Mountains where Virginia, North Carolina, and stuff kind of all connect. People here are like already 25 years behind the times,
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like
Small towns,
If Henry Ford
just behind.
came along and asked people what they wanted here, they would have been like faster horses, of course.
Yeah,
Like they wouldn't have been ready for cars
yeah,
here,
yeah.
right?
To catch
Like
up. Yeah, and that's not it's not a statement to their intelligence. It's just the way that the cultural aspect of a
exactly.
smaller,
Yeah.
less populated area is just always going to be behind. That's why
And
people go to
it's
cities.
and it's part of why this is Johnson City, which is right next to Jonesboro, right next to me. Johnson City is the fastest growing city in America. Like more
Mm,
people move here every year than anywhere else. A bunch of people move from California, like myself,
checks
from
out.
Florida, from Texas, from New York, especially around the pandemic. And it's not just like the property values going up and people's kids having a hard time buying here now, but it's people bringing their money and their tech savviness here and out competing the locals that
Yeah, and
causes
that's a problem.
some anxiety and some angst and some resentment of the outs us against them, the outsiders mentality. So we've definitely had a little bit of that. I have, but it's been fun because I feel like having been here for 4 or 5 years now, I've broken down a lot of those walls, and a lot
Yeah.
of people in the community trust me, and I love them and want to help them, and it's been working out pretty well so far.
Yeah, and even if those people weren't coming in, even if you live in a town where it's like that's not a problem for me, nobody from California is moving here. Like when someone in your town figures out how to use this technology,
For sure.
you are going to get left behind, like
Oh
left
yeah.
behind. It is a problem. It is a problem. If you're
Yeah.
talking about industry changing or disrupting or ending kind of technology,
Hmm.
right? Like travel agents are in trouble.
Hmm.
The people who are in marketing are in
Yeah.
trouble. Creatives are in trouble. It's so having a way to compete and manage your stuff, or using some of those tools in your favor instead of against you, and why would that ever hurt? And why would that not be worth the investment?
Yes, amen. It's not like AI is going to be replacing people or taking their jobs that soon, but it's going to be people who learn to use AI taking other
Yeah.
people's jobs
Yeah.
who refuse to learn how to
Exactly.
use it.
Exactly. Exactly. I can use AI to compete with any travel agent right now,
Hmm.
like fast. And
Yeah,
so it's like, why, you know what I'm saying? So, but if you have the knowledge of the industry and the travel industry, and then you use AI, then you're going to stay ahead of someone like me who
exactly.
is going to try to compete. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
yeah, and I'm not just even talking about AI. I'm talking about like what you do specifically, right? So,
Sure.
with the CRM, so which involves it. So, okay, last question. You mentioned your Mailchimp on steroids. Tell me more about other features that you guys are working and building out to kind of give more legs to this as it grows, because it's a
Yeah.
relatively new company, right? You guys have been around for what, a couple years,
Right.
a year?
So Joe is kind of doing this for like a year or two on his own,
Yeah,
just consulting, helping folks with like podcasts, YouTube, marketing stuff, and then eventually more like sales training. And that's what I was doing with him for a while, 6 months maybe. But for the past year, we've really like fully pivoted towards software. We still have a few consulting clients. Like I've got some door to door roof sales guys that I train. Like we got a couple people like that, but mostly we're focused on the software part of the business. So I already lost. I got lost in the
yeah. No,
sauce. What was
sorry,
your
I
question?
asked you
Sorry.
two different questions, and that's
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
my bad. But so that it's a newer company, and so
yeah.
what are you guys rolling out, or like what's like, so right now
New
you have
stuff.
this
New
stuff,
stuff.
and
Yeah,
what
yeah,
are you
yeah.
working on to like where, like what's the next 3 years look like?
It's exciting because even though we've only been doing this for a year, we're constantly rolling out new stuff and it gets better and better. And we use it for ourselves internally and we test it. or a new customer with a new use case comes along and we're like, oh, we've been wanting to build that, now we've got the reason to, and we'll be able to roll that out to the next person. But I would say the thing that works really well together and works for just about everybody is the combination of email, sales funnels with the phone part. A lot of CRMs don't have the phone stuff built into it. Like you'll still need a Ring Central or something. And this has got a dialer built into it that can auto drop voicemails, which is super sick. We have a conference every year. So here's an example of how we used it. And this is how some of our clients used it. Uh, in Knoxville, we had the best year yet conference. We had like 200 people say they were going to buy tickets and go, but it was getting close and we had to order food for everyone, right? We needed a head count and we did not have time to call 200 people and be like, get off the pot, right? Like, hey, you said you're going to come.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Could you please, so we just recorded the voicemail, each of us, and dropped it on each of our opportunities, like whoever we'd invited. And it was just basically like, hey, you said you're going to be there. I believe you. We're looking forward to it, but we do need a head count for food. So if you could go ahead and take care of getting your ticket today, that'd be great. And we immediately got like 50 callbacks. We realized we probably should have dripped that out a little more slowly over time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it saved a lot of time, and we've done that to help people put on their own conferences, and get the word out, and get 100 plus people to buy tickets and to show up in a very short time frame.
But
So
Brandon, I can just
using
use a
email with voicemail
Facebook
together,
event. I can just use blah blah blah. What do you say to
dude.
those?
Do you know how many reminders? Do you know how many reminders it takes for someone to take action on something? Man, the stats on cold outreach, especially, it's like 11 touches before somebody finally even notices you, much less responds. Uh, and some people never check Facebook. I never check Facebook,
I don't either.
but my text message inbox always gets back to zero. That's where I live out of, is my text.
Yeah.
Emails, I'm second best there. I'm still not great at like getting
Same.
email inboxes to zero.
Same.
And voicemails. Everybody can at least listen to their voicemail, when they're on the go. And think about it, if you get a phone call and they don't text you and they don't leave a voicemail, you probably won't even remember to call them back.
No. Especially if it's an unknown number. I'm like, oh, it's just a spammer. They're just trying to send me some sort of dumb thing
Yeah,
in India somewhere or whatever. It's always
or
some reason.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay. Well, neat. That's pretty cool. That's exciting that there's some services in there that are going on. If people want to get more information, how can they go and find you?
they can go to knowledgegapconsulting.com
We'll
and
link
they
that in the
can,
notes below so people can just
yeah,
go scroll down, tap on that link.
they can request a free consultation where it'll be like a 20 to 30-minute kind of discovery call where we figure out, hey, what is your process like? Where could automation save you time? Where could an outreach system help you add a ton of pipeline and generate a bunch of revenue? What are you trying to do? Can we help you do that? Like, where's the low hanging fruit, basically? And even if we don't end up working together, at least they'll have some valuable action items and aha moments about their business.
Cool. Very neat. Awesome, man. That
Yeah.
is so cool. I love that. I love all of that. And we shall be in touch just because who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
we love Hotspot, don't mind it, but if there's a way to kind of stay connect with both people and just get the same results, why would I not? That's pretty cool.
Totally.
I believe in that. Sweet man. All right. Well, do you want to wind the clocks back and talk about some Southwestern stuff?
Yeah. Let's talk about books.
This is gonna be funny stories. I'm excited. All right.
Yeah.
So changing here.
Just to quickly segue it, by the way, the first thing I ever sold with Southwestern was a pack of CDs with math video games on it.
Let's
So
go.
like I was actually out there selling software all along.
You've been a little software salesman from the beginning.
That's
There you
right.
go. We look at a little,
Yeah,
software savvy man over here. Okay.
that's right.
So, okay. Well, obviously, we got to start back to how the heck you're just chilling in Berkeley, minding
Mhm.
your own business. So, what happens that made you go, "What are you doing this for?" or whatever?
Yeah.
Who did this to you?
So I think it is really important to be grateful for adversity and like doing challenge and hard things. I think avoiding that is a big miss. I forget, maybe it was Mark Twain or who said the quote, but it was like, people always miss opportunity because it's dressed in overalls and it looks like work.
Yeah, yeah. Airball.
and I was blessed to be in a position where I needed to work really hard that summer to make some money because this was like the '08 housing crisis. That was my freshman year of college at UC Berkeley,
Nice.
which I had no business going to this school. It was like the best school that I could get into, and even for an in-state school, it was still wildly expensive. And my parents made like that sweet spot of income where in California they're still basically poor because everything's so expensive there.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get any financial aid or scholarships, like very minimal help, like
Well, we
just
were
that
in the
sweet spot.
same spot,
Right.
you and I.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Danny got a
Yeah.
bunch of my parents divorced right as Danny went to college, and so he got a all full ride. If they had just divorced 2 years earlier, come on, mom and dad, I would have totally got free ride. But no, no, no. My parents made too much, but not enough.
And it's funny that you mentioned that because when I went to school is when they got divorced.
Oh, your parents.
Like the same thing happened. Like that first year, literally, I
Nice.
got the call in like January, right after the first semester was wrapping up, and I was like, "Oh, you guys are declaring bankruptcy and selling the house and getting divorced, so there is no home to go home to this summer." And Dad's like, "Well, yeah, you basically got to figure something out to do this summer." So
Cool.
that's why I figured out I had to do something that summer.
Dude,
Between
yeah.
that, school being expensive, I was ready to do whatever came along.
Yeah, I'm surprised more people aren't getting divorced on paper just so they could pay for their kids' school or their kids could get more subsidies in school. Because, damn, dude, it's expensive to go to college. Yeah, that might be it.
Dude, the help I got from my mom was I came home from high school one day and she was like, "Oh yeah, I took care of the loan applications and stuff for you." I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You're the proud owner of $24,000 of pretty low interest debt, just 9%." And I have
Well,
like no clue what that means.
nobody knows.
Uh
It's criminal that they do
yeah,
that to kids.
it
That's a
was
whole different
wild.
topic, and it could be a story for
Seriously.
Bizzler, but it is criminal that you're 17 and you're signing away a mortgage. Well, I guess
Dude,
mortgage is worth
and
150,
I
but
quit paying attention to math. Like I was good in all my other subjects, but like
dude,
I saw your chessboard behind you, right? Like I
yeah,
got really into chess in high school, and a kid would bring a chessboard in during trigonometry and calculus, and we played chess. We didn't pay attention to it,
dude,
so I love chess.
add me on, dude. I'll play you. Add me on chess.
We got to play.
Oh,
I started the high school chess club. I was
look
that
at
much of a
you.
nerd. Went to tournaments, like traveled for tournaments. Yeah,
Oh, that's epic.
yeah.
Epic. Favorite opening on three. One, two, three. Scotch.
Queen's Gambit.
Ah, nice. Well enough. By the way, that's a Queen's Gambit board right there.
Nice.
Like it's a nice,
Great show too. Great
also
show.
good show.
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
Back to Southwestern though.
Total tangents, Batman.
Total tangent.
So you're at a place where now you need to go work.
Right. So, Kibos Buskovich. What a mouthful of a name. Imagine saying that at the door, 12,000 times a summer. My name's Kibos Buskovich. And they're like, what? Who?
Say that.
Come again?
Say that again. Yeah. Slower.
Anyway, so she came into my psychology class and she said, "Yeah, I made like $25,000 last summer. Average student makes 5 to 10 grand in a summer.
Ding 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 ding.
Fill this little form out." I was almost not going to go to that class that day. I'd skipped that class a lot and just happened to pick that day to go. And that was the only time she made that announcement. And I said, "Yes, I'll take one of those. I'll fill it out." And I was such a wreck, dude. Like I partied too much that first semester, and I was like barely getting back to my straight edge roots and like figuring stuff out my second semester. But like my sleep was bad. I was taking too many credits to try to make up for earlier mistakes. So long story short, I slept through most of the first, what did we used to call those? The
Info
info
session.
session. The info session. I got there late and I was like, they're gonna want nothing to do with me. And lo and behold, they set up the first interview. I was like late for the first interview. She was so nice and cool, didn't care. She was just like, whatever, talk to somebody who did this. She was like, my younger brother did this. And I come to find out that she was the number two top salesperson in the company the summer before.
Oh, in '07.
Pretty dang good salesperson.
That's pretty
And
solid.
her student manager, Amaris Morrison, was either number one or number two for at least a summer, around that time. So
Solid.
like
Stud.
I came from good stock, and they were all under Kaya Grady, actually, I think
Yeah.
recruited them,
Who
who
is
held the record.
a legend in
A
her own right.
legend,
Yeah.
an absolute legend. And they were all under Ron Alford and Amy Brock Devine, like Redline slash Seeds, definitely had some legends.
You're talking about like if you, I think in the Superstore book, when they look at, if you look at the back where they have the stats, with people with the most units lifetime,
Right.
I think you just said 3 of the top 3.
Exactly. And
It's
that was
literally
like
like
my family tree. That's what I was trying to
yeah, it's
shoot
like
for.
Amy, Ron, and Kaya, right? Like,
Mhm.
as of last time I checked, my stuff might have shuffled around the last few years, but
Yeah.
pretty sure
They're up there.
they're in the top 5 at least. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And then Nate Vogel was so awesome. He brought a 20-person team like 20 years in a row or something ridiculous.
By
He
the way,
was just
Nate,
the
if you're
master
listening
recruiter.
to this, I've been trying to call you, so get on here. Okay. Sorry.
Dude, Nate's the man. I
I
tried and
heard.
failed to recruit my sister. He sat down with her for like 10 minutes over coffee, showed her pictures of his cat, and she's like, "I'm ready to sell books now."
Yeah. Some people are just crazy. Like, I was like, how? What do you
Yeah.
eat? Well, I don't understand. Like, yeah. Him,
Yeah.
people like that. Matt Atchison were like that. Rob
Right.
Halford, just like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
So you guys are just good. Good.
Yeah, they're great.
Congrats.
And good people. Like also
Yeah.
just good people. That
Just
helps.
people you'd love to go and just hang on a road trip with. Just awesome. Awesome
For
people.
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get $25,000, you're in.
Yeah. And anyway, I was failing at the interview process and still they would have me and I still kind of thought like it might be um fake, like a scam or something. And my dad
Yeah.
totally thought it was a scam. He even found like southwesterntruth.com and like a bunch of the
With good
old
reason. Yeah.
right. And he felt bad because he's like, well, I can't talk. He's like, I don't have a great situation for you to come home to. I can't tell you what not to go do. But he's definitely didn't want me to go. And so I was like, I'll hedge my bets. I'll just not study the sales talk or do anything to get ready for the summer, just in case it's not real, and I'll focus on school. So I
Neat.
did get straight A's in school, but then I showed up for the road trip to Nashville, and I was like, oh, this is real. Okay, the building exists. Oh wow, I probably should have at least looked at my sales talk.
People are running around.
Yeah.
They know their sales talk.
So
Oh, you
so
leave
so
next week.
it was a blessing though because again like the hardships the crappy situation back against the wall made me desperate enough to take that leap and then because I was so behind the eight ball when I got to sales school I immediately transformed into the most coachable person of all time.
Yeah, that is the
And
best
that's
thing you
why.
can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. I don't know if you know my story, and I've told this several times on the podcast, but got recruited like the Wednesday of finals week. So when
Nice.
you go in deep
Nice.
like that, your only
Yeah.
option is like, all right, I guess I better commit to everything they tell me to do. Otherwise, because you don't know
Exactly.
any better, and you're 18.
Right.
Like, what do you know about any of
Yep.
this? Yeah. So fair enough. That
Yeah.
I think that's the way to. Not, I'm not telling people not to memorize their sales talk. I'm just saying like just the a lot of good things happen when you're coachable to people who are
Yeah.
doing the things that you want to be doing in a particular line of work, industry, career, profession, whatever. So
Totally.
great lesson there. Good job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was
So you
super
show up at
coachable.
sales school. You show up at sales school. You're like, I got to be coachable. All right.
Yep.
What do you remember as far as like emotions, events, core memories of that week of sales school? The first one, because it's always,
Yeah.
oof.
And it was so different because you just get to be like a participant, an observer, an enjoyer. Like they put on that whole party, that whole show for you, versus every other summer after that, you're like a mom trying to look after her kids,
Yeah.
like a duck trying not to lose any ducklings,
Yeah.
and also trying to get yourself ready.
Yeah.
So the first one, I remember that feeling of wow, this is pretty fun. This is really well put together. I kind of like these people,
Yeah.
and they're all a little bit crazy, but positively crazy, like in a good way.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like that because, like I said, I've been kind of a sourpuss, like a grumpy old man
Yeah.
in a young man's body, and just decided to totally change and be positive and be coachable and like read the positive affirmations. I've got the
Neat.
my sister got me this mug. It was not the critic who counts, but it's the man who's actually in the arena. Like the whole quote is on this mug.
No
So I
way.
would, yeah,
It's
I
my
would have
favorite
stuff.
quote.
This is my favorite one. I love this one.
Oh, it's my favorite quote.
So
Wow, you
I
and I have
would,
a lot more in common than I realized.
yeah, man, we should hang out more.
Yeah, yes, please. I'm down. Dude,
Yeah,
so cool. Yeah, I remember thinking, and again, in this podcast, we're not aiming to promote Southwestern or derail Southwest. I mean, it's not
sure.
about that.
Everyone's had their own experience.
But credit to
Yeah,
where credit is due. I don't know that I've been to a company or even an event where the speakers are as engaging and as good as the
it was really
speakers
good.
at Southwestern. It was
Yep.
it was actually disappointing. It's kind of like going to like my first
Right.
concert ever was like Dave Matthews, which are known for being great live. And so I went to this amazing experience of music for 3 hours, and then the next concert I go to is
Right.
like an hour and it's not as good. I'm like, oh, so it like ruined the rest of them for me, right? So same thing with
Right.
this. Now I see a speaker and I'm like, oh, this guy sucks. Like I've seen Dan Moore. Have you seen Dan Moore? My
Exactly.
God,
Yeah.
he's amazing. Or
And and
whatever.
and I was older than you, right? Like I'd already been going 4 or 5 sales schools. I mean, I my first summer I think was like peak Dan Moore, right?
Yeah,
And
that was
I
like
and
he
I
was like an
yeah,
original, and he was still. I mean, he was still energetic for the ones after. I'm not saying he
for
was,
sure.
but
For
I
sure.
think that was just right around the time where he started
Exactly. He just got started as the president.
as a president. So there
Yeah.
was like some sort of like extra edge when you're doing it the first time. You're
Right.
like, I got to make sure it's extra good.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, it's awesome, dude. That's so cool. And you see
Yeah.
these people, you see Mort's recordings, and you're like, wow, this is
Right.
you realize these people have something I do not have, and I
Exactly.
need it. I need to
Exactly.
be like that.
Well said.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So
So
where did you go?
well, I was just gonna chime in and say, like, I didn't realize it at the time, but I realize it now. I think that's what I and a lot of other people would call the Holy Spirit, is kind of what it felt
Yeah,
like. Like, that's what some of those
yeah.
people had. Like, they had that
Something.
spark. They had something, and, like, I'll
Yeah,
talk more about it at the end, but it definitely felt like God was knocking at my door, and, like, that was part of why and how I had to end up there. And around like obviously like Christian positive leaders and good role models and influences. Like exactly, it's like people that you wanted to be like, that you
yeah,
looked up to. So that was really good. Like God bless all the people I worked with. They were wonderful.
yeah. And again, not to be all harpy on Southwestern, but there you got to give credit. We all
Right.
experienced this. We all were at the first
Yeah.
sales school, and we all went, "Whoa!" Because if we didn't, we wouldn't have sold. We would have because you get to a point at the end of the sales school week where they're like, "Are you sure you want to do this? This is going to suck,
Right.
and it's going to be hard." That's why it's always funny to me when people complain. There's like, nobody told me it was gonna be this hard. I'm like, really? None
Mhm.
of the managers during the
Yeah.
training, none of the people at sales school in Nashville, none of the exercises that they had us do, where they were literally having us outside in an asphalt like parking lot in the
With a
heat of the
30-pound bag.
with a 30-pound bag, walking around the parking lot, encouraging us to not sit down, us to like just because they were trying to like really simulate what it would be like out in the book field. At any point in time, nobody at all, like,
Right.
with implicit or explicit words tell you, "This is gonna be hard," and
Yeah.
then you go, and then you come back and you complain that it was hard. What the hell are you talking about? Like, were you just
Yeah.
not paying attention? Because they told us a lot
They warned us
from day
often. And
1. This is 80
yeah.
hours a week straight commission. That alone is means it's gonna suck. Like,
Yeah, but that's also why I wanted to do it. Like when I was
yeah,
in high school, I said I want to compete, at everything. And like I wanted to go to chess tournaments, right? Like whether it was that or swimming or tennis or school. I even did the academic decathlon.
yeah.
Like I would go
I was doing it
find
in high school,
all
bro.
the hardest, toughest stuff to do. So they
Yeah,
said 80 hours a week straight commission. Most people quit. It's really hard. I was
and
like, that sounds great.
And not even hard, but, like, even
Yeah.
a little bit during sales school, but also a lot during the first few weeks. Not
Oh
just that it
yeah.
was hard, but to do something hard and then compete with other people doing the same thing. Like,
Exactly.
there was, like, the
Right.
competition side of it, and then there
Yeah.
was, like, that it's hard. Like, because you can compete with people doing, you know, something easy, but it's, like,
Right.
it's different when you're competing with someone or other people who. Because I've told this story before at sales school, but you tell me if you had a similar experience. All my
Yeah.
life, straight A's, I was like this, top of my class, blah, blah,
Right.
blah. And then I show up at sales school and Dan Moore's like, all right, stand up if you're top of your class. And like everybody stands up. And you're like, oh. They're like,
Right.
stay standing if you were in sports. And like everybody stays standing. And all of a sudden
Yeah.
it's like all these things that you were so proud of up to this point in your life. Yeah, you were just in high school and looking back, it's silly that we were.
Yeah.
But at the time, that was like the most impressive thing you'd done. And
Mhm.
everybody stays standing through like stand up if you're a valid. I mean, not everybody, but most of them stay standing when he talks about being a valedictorian or if you did this or if you were in that, if you're in varsity sports, if you're captain of your whatever team.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you start realizing, oh shit, like these people are like me. Like these are me
Right.
from different towns and different communities, and they're about to go compete. And now I'm going to be pitted against these people. And the thing that we're going to do isn't like something like for me, school always came easy. So like it didn't feel like a competition. But now
Yeah.
I'm about to do something hard against people who are just as sharp, if not way sharper than I am. And so it's like,
And
oh, dude,
it's so brutally humbling when you're used to winning with minimal effort.
yes.
Because by the same token, like I liked doing hard, challenging things. But I also like to slack off and get things done the easiest way possible. Like I
Yeah,
remember in high school, there was
that's
way too
smart.
much homework to do. There was way too much homework to do. So we had like a little black market underground economy of like, okay, she's doing the math homework. You can count on me for the history homework, right? Like
Yeah,
we had to optimize,
which is
efficient, get
smart.
every right.
That
And
shows you your
there's just
intelligence.
there's seven AP classes. They all gave like an hour of homework each. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, so
Um,
the only way you survive is by being smart about it,
exactly.
which
Yeah.
is
And
why you
and
were in the AP classes in the first place.
but then, right, like to your point, you're no longer competing against the bottom 99%, but the top 1%. And
Yeah,
it's so brutally humbling when you're used to winning easily. And then you're like, wow, I can't even win, even if I work my face off. I could work 100 hours a week, and there's going to be people that are more talented, that were more prepared. I have no shot at competing this summer. And there
yeah,
was one guy in my org my first summer. I just was never going to get close to him. I could never beat him. He was another first year. And then he never came back. So I never had a chance to beat him.
yeah, he just beat you.
That was it. He was just one and done. And I
Yeah.
was like, all right, well,
You
I'll
also
just
learn.
compete with myself. I'll focus on getting better.
Yeah.
But it was humbling. It was in a
You
good way.
you also learn, like, so there's this quote of hard work beats talent. Talent doesn't want to work hard, but sometimes you have talent and then there's skill as well. And again, and this is important. Some people did not do well selling books that did great doing other things. Some people did
Sure.
great at selling books that went and ate shit wherever they went after. And then there's
Right.
like people who are good at both, like were bad at both, good at both. Doesn't matter. But my point is, like, you started realizing like there's people who are just good at, like we were talking about Matt
Hmm.
Atchison, people like, it's like you're just good. Like there's no other way of putting it. It's just that you are just very good at this. It came very naturally to you, and it's humbling when you meet someone like that because like you're like, I mean, I guess I could have worked hard enough to have gotten to that point, but like even you sold 8,000 units, right? That is impressive. That's like top 1%. And then you meet someone like Kaya or Peter Petkoff who sold 30,000 units, and you're like,
Right.
what the
Yeah. Yeah.
how is this possible? And you start like realizing like sometimes there's just there's going to be someone better than you, and you just have to face the fact there's only one Magnus Carlsen, right? Like
Right.
chess is a lot this way too.
For
Is you're
sure.
like there's always you just beat someone and it was great, but then you think, wow, there's a guy out there who,
It's because there's talented geniuses that are also working just as hard as you,
yeah, and it's like there's
if not
nothing you
harder.
can do. There's nothing you can do. I'm
Right.
sorry, you've been lied to. So you could be the best in the, no, you can't.
But that's where I think I like was humbled in a good way because I was so obsessed as a youngster. Like I was always the youngest kid in my class and the smallest kid in my class because of my
Mm,
August birthday. Right, my birthday's coming up next month, and so I was always 11 months younger than everybody else in class. Very small, very smart, very easy to pick on. Had no friends, in the small town that I grew up in, where my family was outsiders. Right, like my family moved there because of military stuff. And if you didn't have a dairy, if you weren't Portuguese, like you know, people didn't want you in their circle. And every time I had like a good friend, they would move away, right? Like after a year. So growing up, I got bullied a lot as a kid. And long story short, I got obsessed with like becoming the best at everything and being like number one in the world. Like I wanted to become a trillionaire. I wanted to become the president. Like I had all these crazy, ridiculous, lofty goals to make up for my own insecurity. And having a slice of humble pie is really good for a person like that
yeah,
to realize like I don't need that for my own personal glory. Like I can just
yeah,
focus on making myself a better version of myself
yeah.
instead of like keeping everybody else below me. You
Yeah.
know?
And that's what the book field does. You are
Yeah.
faced with you every day. The mirror
Right.
is in your face and how you react
Yeah.
in situations. Like you learn a lot about like what you can handle. You learn a lot about, and which is fine. No shame in like people who didn't sell as many units or who would go home early or whatever. But like you learn that about you, and I think that was the most important lesson. Like if anything, I've learned in the last few years is just the more that you know yourself in diverse situations, the better off you're going to be in general, whether
Mhm.
you're talented or not. Is self awareness is so optimal in any aspect, that in your marriage, in your parenting, in your career, in your personal life, it's just so huge to know who you are. And if you know that, there's so much strength in that. Which I
Yeah.
think is what you learn when you sell books. So yeah,
Totally.
I love that take.
And becoming a lifelong learner, like a student of the game, was something else I picked up and had to do and wanted to do and enjoyed doing to get better. Because, like I said, it did not come naturally. I mean, I was probably still am like on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Like I have to critically think and analyze how conversations are supposed to go for normal people, and then like practice to get there. So like that's that my first summer was also rough. Like I had a bicycle. The
Yeah.
first 3 weeks in a row, it
Oof.
rained. It rained
Oof.
every day for like 22 days in a row. It
Where
was
did you
in
settle?
Washington,
Oh
Olympia, Washington.
God.
Yeah, the rain
Oh
in
no.
May. My school got out early, so it
Oh
was
God.
still very rainy,
Yeah.
and
Great
I
summers though.
sucked.
The overall summer is amazing, but the
Yes, the
early
overall
parts of the summer
rest of the summer got great. But I remember like my maps, just
wet.
wet, falling apart into smithereens, knocking on the same house 3 times
Because
by
this is back when
accident.
they were still using paper maps. These
Right.
kids listening from the last 5 years of selling books are like, "Where was your iPad?" You're like, "I iPads were not invented yet.
No, exactly.
They didn't even iPhones were barely making waves. Like, if
Right.
anything, like I think the first iPhone
It
came out in
oh,
'07.
it just came out, yeah.
Like, it
And
was the
even by
teeny
the
tiny.
end of my 6 summers, nobody was using Sales Rapid. It was still a twinkle in the eye of Southwestern.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
idea, no we were using paper maps to sell paper books to
Mhm.
families
Or
in the rain.
CDs. If it was software, that's as advanced as it got. CD freaking ROMs, not even DVDs. We weren't even at the DVD age
Oh,
yet.
that wasn't even a thing yet. They didn't have a
Uh,
website. There
yeah.
was not a website.
In fact, there was no Audible, so, to get better, I listened to Zig Ziglar's Secrets of Closing the Sale on CD in my car, and it was so long. There was 4 CDs. You'd have to take, like, the CD out for part
Yeah,
1 and then
to
put the
change
second for
it
part
would
2.
say, "This is end of part 1.
Right.
Insert disc 2," and you're like, "Oh, yeah, yeah."
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man, what a good time. So you went to Washington.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's talk about some firsts. This is my first summer's always the best because everybody relates.
Yeah.
So, all right, do you remember your first door?
The very first door?
And if you don't, that's okay. Some people lose
Ma
it, some people okay.
maybe not.
Do you
Yeah.
remember your first customer or the first customer you remember having? You
Yes.
talked about it a little bit.
I remember a couple of them actually. Like I remember the one that was it was a week order. It was a 0 down on some CDs. Like it did, I don't even think they accepted the delivery or came and put the money at the end of the summer. I was just so happy to have somebody, put their name and address
Right.
down. But the
That's
first like solid customer I had, I remember like the guy was on crutches or something. Like he couldn't really answer the door because like something happened to his leg. So he had his 13-year-old daughter answer the door, and I was doing the approach to like him sitting on the couch and her at the same time, and it was kind of awkward. And it was of
right.
course raining. It's still raining constantly, all day, not just for a couple of hours. But he's like, yeah, yeah, whatever, come on in. That sounds good. And like this man like loved his daughter so much, and he was a single dad. He was a super dad, and it was not a rich area. You start out in the poorest area. Your first summer, a
Correct.
rookie, a guy, first week. Like this was not big brick, right? This was not rich houses. But God bless him. Like he wanted to help his kid do well in school and bought her the big black books or blue books. No, I had blue books back then. I had the volume
Volume
libraries.
libraries. Let's go.
Yeah, I had the volume libraries.
This is
So
before they switched to the Advantage books. Yeah.
right, they kind of combined them with the red books from the other organization.
Organization. This is when
Yeah,
they still had two organizations. That's which is
right.
wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a beautiful story because it teaches you. It also reminds me of like the things that you don't expect to learn in the book field that you end up learning, like
Hmm.
being a good dad or being a bad dad,
Right.
right? You like
For sure.
it's like oh,
Plenty of both.
so many like and even like so. This is a funny one. Like I want to take my baby girl to Montessori school because
Mhm.
did you ever meet Montessori families when you were selling?
Oh, they were so nice. Their kids
Dude,
were well behaved.
oh my
Very well
god,
behaved.
the
Yeah.
best behaved kids in the world
Right.
are Montessori
Yeah.
kids. It's shocking the difference. Talk to me about that a little bit more because I've been
Well,
thinking
I
about
would
this. I
say
don't even
it's
know how to
it's it,
explain this.
it it's probably a confirmation bias, first of all, because the kind of parents who care enough about their kids to go the extra mile to seek out and find the best schools, even if they're more expensive private schools. Like they're probably going to spend more time with their kids and be more present, and like their kids are going to be better behaved anyway,
Sure.
whether they were homeschool or going to Montessori school. But and then also the fact that like all the other kids are like that, hopefully at school. The kids got other good kids to be around, also really helpful, instead of
That's
just
fair.
like the
That's
wild
fair.
hooligans of public school.
Yeah, in first grade.
It's not like there's some nun like cracking a whip or like getting ready to smack people, and that's not why the kids come out good, right? It's because they have good kid role models and good parent role models.
Yeah. That's actually fair. But also, I mean, the style of teaching, like my I don't think you might say share this. My brother took Vaco to my nephew to
Mhm.
Montessori school, and when they were looking at schools, one of the reasons they picked Montessori is because, besides the obvious things that we know, was because there was the only place that did not have a TV in the building.
Oh, yeah, that's huge too.
So, like, little like, the methods also are important. Like, they
True.
early on, they
Yeah,
give kids it even just to analyze how mature a kid can be while still being a kid, because some people are like, "Oh, you're taking away their infancy," or it's like, "No, dude, they're still able to play. They're still able to
for
do
sure.
all the things other kids do." It's just when you I remember just meeting, like, an eight-year-old who goes to Montessori school and just having full-blown conversations, or I'd be talking to the mom and the kid she'd be like, "Okay, go make some food," and he'd, like, take out the knife and, like, chop up vegetables and make himself,
Right.
like, a full-blown salad on the stove, and you're like, "An eight-year-old can do that?" And then she's like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they teach him that at school," and we're like, "What?"
that's great.
You know what I'm saying? It's
That's
crazy.
awesome.
Little
Yeah,
things you don't wanna learn, but you learn that. My kid's going to Montessori school. I don't know what I have
there
to
you
do to
go.
pay, but I'm doing it.
There you
Um,
go.
so that's a cool lesson from your first customer. How did that
Yeah.
rest of the first summer go? I mean, you started on a bike, it was kinda rough, really, really wet, but did you have it
Mhm.
like, did you ever have a moment where you're like, "I'm gonna go home. This is not I can't do this."
No, never. I mean, I maybe thought about that a couple of times, and I maybe like sat down to like read my sales talk as a way to just take a break because I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, what to say. It wasn't going well. Nobody was letting this wet kid into their house. So I had a couple pity parties, but I was never going to let myself quit. That was not an option. Like
Love it.
the ships were burned, right? Like
Nice.
before we left school, and finally, like the sun came out, and then finally, also maybe my second or third week, I had a really big, nice customer that was just super sweet and nice. Like they sold with Amway and had done pretty well with it, like another kind of direct selling, multi level marketing thing, whatever. And a lot of people in their neighborhood knew them. They were known for like being great hosts, having great parties, being like kind of the life of that community and that neighborhood. So
Ideal.
I had a great week, right? I sold like 300 units, which is pretty good for a first year.
Yeah.
And then I was consistently doing like 150 to 250 to maybe 300 units, kind of like the rest of the summer, and finished at like 1900 units
Solid. It's
in
great.
in a short summer. I think it was 8 or 9 weeks as well because I had to leave
Solid.
leave early for to be an RA, like a resident assistant,
Yeah.
the boss of the floor or whatever. I had to leave early for that,
Pit boss of the dorm.
right?
Yeah.
Something like that. So
So
it was a solid first summer. I think I ended up like number 99. I barely made it into the superstar book.
that's
Like I
cool.
was number 98 or something, just barely.
For the record, for people listening, that is a book that they bring out with like the top 100 first years and top one or 150 or something like that, 100 first years and 100 experienced people. And out of like at the time, there's probably like 6 or 7,000 people doing it this summer. So that's a pretty high. That's top 1%. So that's sick. Um, okay, now you knew you were going to come back already, right? You earlier mentioned that
Oh
you
yeah,
told Ron like, dude, I'm doing this for as long as you're here.
yeah.
So the coming back part wasn't hard for you. Where did you go your next summer?
It was Washington again.
Whoa.
Uh,
So, okay, so walk
yeah,
me through where you sold all your summers, all six. So
yeah, yeah. So
Washington,
the first two were Washington. The second time was closer to Seattle, like just north of Seattle, in a town called Everett,
Everett. Yeah,
Marysville.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know Everett. We have an
you know Everett.
alumni. Eliav Cohen is in Everett. He's a
Oh, cool.
he's a
Nice.
he's a old book guy.
Yeah,
He's a
and a hot air balloon aficionado, if I
Yes,
recall
he is.
correctly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's been on the show a couple times.
That's cool. Nice.
Awesome dude. Yeah.
Awesome
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So that was my host family. My favorite breakfast spot, by the way. If we got to come back to that one, that's a funny
okay,
story from my second summer.
okay.
Third summer was awesome. That was in Long Island, New York,
Whoa,
and that was the
way
first time.
different.
Way different. First time that my little sister came along, it was her first summer. My third summer, she was in New Jersey, and man, the funniest thing is how they talk out there.
Yeah.
Like I remember like being at a library trying to figure out turf and stuff in the beginning, and I overheard a mom teaching her kid to read, and the kid is like dog, dog, and she's like, no,
Dog,
sweetie, no, yeah, it's dog. She like corrected her kid from saying it the right way.
dog,
Yeah,
dog. All right,
dog,
got it.
dog.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was funny, and
So that was
and
in Long Island.
and then the fourth one was back to Washington again.
Woo.
This time it was a little bit more of the hood. It was kind of by Parkland and Tacoma. Like
Okay.
there was not a lot of big brick there.
No,
it
no.
was not as good as that third
It's not
summer.
as good as the across the bridge into Gig Harbor. or something like
Right.
that. That's a
Yeah.
nice area. Okay.
Right, right. And, the last 2 were oh, no, no, the next one was New York, and my last one was in DC.
New York.
That was
That's how
nice.
we that's how we met, I think, because that would have been 2012, and I was in New York. I think that's where I met you.
Yeah, we probably saw each other for a couple team up Sunday
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
meetings,
think
stuff
that's
like
how I
that.
remember. Yeah,
That's
because
cool.
that was 2012, and I was in upstate New York. Yeah,
And
that's
I was probably working with the University of Washington students at that time instead of UC Berkeley.
yeah, which probably would have been Grant's people, some of the Grant Greeters people, I think, were
Yeah.
from Oregon. Some of those guys came together. Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
Cool. And then DC.
That was awesome. Yeah, Hyattsville, technically, which is just outside of it. And, it was very interesting because almost everybody that summer was like Nigerian or Salvadorian. And I learned
Whoa.
a lot of Spanish, and I even learned a little bit of Yoruba and Igbo, which are the 2 main dialects spoken in Nigeria.
Whoa, and probably the food was amazing.
The food was amazing,
Pupusas
man.
everywhere.
Yes, yes, it was
Oh my
great.
gosh.
I got fed
Wow.
well. I got fed well, and the sweetest, nicest old lady was our host family that summer. Grandma Nichols, we called her. Betty Nichols, I think was her first name, Betty. But she's great. She was just like the sweetest host family ever. Host mom, I
That's
guess. It was just her. Yeah,
that's
that was
good.
cool.
4th of July in Washington, DC must have been sick.
Yeah, but I tell you what, trying to deliver books when there's a Washington Redskins game going on was not as fun.
Do not do
There,
that.
there's a beltway loop, going around DC, and you have to get on and off of it to get around to make your deliveries in your giant U-Haul, and it's a parking lot. That was rough.
That is tough. That
Yeah,
makes sense. All right,
but
so
yeah,
so that's the breakdown of all your summers. So as you're going along, I wanted to get into some of the stuff that in the growth stuff that you do in the managing, because I think there's some gold nuggets of wisdom to maybe
for sure,
extract from that, plus some funny stories probably too. But
totally.
so when you go back your second summer, you're an org leader of 22 kids with only three
Yeah,
managers. Walk me through how you approach that, because that is a whole impressive cup of tea there.
yeah. So Kibos retired. That was her last summer. Was my first summer, and her younger brother was done or couldn't sell that summer for some reason. Colleen had graduated, moved on to other things. Like all of our third, fourth year, older, the old guard had all decided that was their last summer. So it was me and 3 other dudes that decided to come back. And I think Amaris did help us out a little bit here and there. She was kind of like a part-time organizational leader, but it was pretty much me and 3 other guys that were on their first summer as managers. And I actually didn't recruit very much at all that first time around because I think I had some low confidence from not selling as well as I thought I could have or should have. And I really wanted to crush it before I went like fully after it with recruiting. So like by no means were like all 20 people mine, maybe like 1 or 2 of them were. The other guys on the team brought like 3 or 4 each, maybe. And half of that organization we actually met at sales school, which is the crazy part because UC Berkeley had a semester school schedule. Everybody else was on quarters. And so there was a few random schools that were also on the semester schedule. And like some people, this is kind of a little bit of a tangent, but Amaris and Kibos were part of this church called the Unification Church, which was about like getting North and South Korea to reunify. So it was like a lot of
What?
people from Korea. It was
Whoa.
very interesting. They were led by Reverend Sung Yun Moon, so they were called the Moonies, which I don't think they like that name, but that's just what people called them. You can look into it; it's very interesting. But they were all great people,
Whoa.
and door to door sales was part of their fundraising. I guess like instead of just tithing, they also did door to door sales. So naturally, they all crushed it, and were all
Okay.
super nice, great, good people. And anyway, a bunch of those kind of folks that they knew from that church that got recruited were at these random different semester schools all over the country. So that backstory was for how we met a bunch of those students at sales school.
Dude,
So no relationship, no rapport. Literally met them at sales school, and they're like, "Hey, could you adopt these 12 children because they have the same school schedule as you?" We'd maybe like talk to them, a couple of them once, like before we got there, and so talk about a ragtag team, of just like
just
a few first
misfits
year.
and ne'er-do-wells.
Exactly. But it was so fun. It was super awesome. We had a great time. And we probably should have sent some of the students home. Like one or two or three of them were not making a lot of money, but we didn't know any better. We were just like, everyone's gonna make it, guys. and it was also intense, like being shadowed so much when the first years outnumber the managers like that.
Yeah, every
I
day
never
you're having to follow. Yeah,
and so I learned to love it, fortunately. Like, I realized I enjoyed kind of like the performance art aspects of door-to-door selling. I always felt like I had more fun and really cranked
I
it
did
up to
too.
11. When someone's there with you, you're saying your names out loud, you're saying moms love me, everybody
It
gets them
keeps
at
you
the
more
door.
in check. It keeps
Right.
you more in check. Yeah, I agree.
And so I made it a lot of fun, and a point of pride and happiness when somebody would have their best day or their best week after shadowing me.
Yeah, but
And
well, sorry to interrupt. Finish your
sure.
thought. Sorry. Uh,
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
I mean, it just you make it sound so simple. I mean, I guess it is simple, but it's not easy to
Right.
keep 22 first years from quitting something that difficult. I mean, we discussed how hard it is already, so it's tough.
I
Right?
mean,
But like, what did you? Was there anything that you did intentionally, or do you think you kind of stumbled upon that retention?
I think we were all just doing our best to be really good bookmen, staying really positive, working really hard, being on schedule, and just how kids watch their parents, right? And they do half what you do right and twice what you do wrong. I think we were all doing a really good job of being on schedule, staying positive, and for the most part, keeping our own egos out of the way and like focusing on helping to keep the guys together, keeping the group together, and just doing the best that we could.
Yeah.
Uh,
But did you guys set like goals to keep everybody? Was that even part like sometimes you get into these GRS conferences and meetings about how to like recruit and retain and they
yeah.
you got to sit down and have an emotional tie-in for everybody and together to each other they commit and then you have accountability partners and they commit to each other that they're going to stay like all these different strategies and then they wouldn't work or they would and whatever. But did you do any of that stuff at all or is it just
I mean, probably some of that. It wasn't, I mean, not a lot of people came back, honestly. Maybe like 25% came back, but everybody finished the summer, which was also, I think,
wild?
more of a testament to the quality of people that we kind of inherited at sales school and that we brought with us. We
Yeah.
we picked good people, not just warm bodies. So, like, to give credit where it's due, like everybody did the hard thing themselves too and got themselves through it. It's not
Yeah.
like we were, you know, dragging everyone to the finish line.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
People put in the work.
That's it. I mean, and but not coming back is, I mean, that makes sense because you did it. But getting them, getting somebody to finish a summer of selling books, even
Yep.
if, I mean, that's kudos to you, man. That's crazy cool, crazy impressive. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you, from your personal side, as far as performance, what did you lock into to kind of hit that growth, or what did you tweak to improve?
So I hadn't been much of a reader after high school. I kind of just read whatever they made us read,
Hmm.
to get through high school. And didn't love college as much as I thought I was going to, but man, I really loved Southwestern and sales. And so I read all the sales books I could. I listened to all that kind of stuff, studied my sales talk, practiced, listened to the advanced sales CDs like How to Have a Great Bee Summer
Yeah.
and Dustin Hillis after he broke the record and Dave Brown. Like, I listened to all of those on repeat. Ron Alford's, Matt Atchison's, like I listened to all of them all the time. Every time I was driving around, I stopped listening to music. Like, I just treated it like a class that was 7 credits where I was just like, I'm going to spend this much time
Wow.
studying this stuff and getting better at it. And I practiced my approach a lot and got better that way. Finally, actually used names at the door. I think I went the entire first summer never name dropping. I was just like, hey, I'm Brandon. I'm here to sell books. Just,
That's awesome.
didn't ever ask for pre approach or referrals, like none of the basic technical stuff. I wasn't good at any of that my first summer. I was totally on schedule. I did 30 demos every day, but I
That's huge.
sucked
That's
you
huge.
know? And then I came back and I cranked it up. I had a car. So I was able to do 40 demos every day, see even more people, and carry books with me, cash people out of the spot,
Done.
and I actually knew what I was doing. So it went better. I think I hit like 500 units my second week, and that just kind of averaged between 400 and 600 the rest of the summer.
That's wild. And
It
then
was it was frustrating not getting any better. I was like, man, I peaked my second week. And that's kind of how the first summer went. And I felt that. And that was annoying. I thought, man, surely I'd be getting better as the summer goes along. But I realized like preparation is really important, because
so
that's kind of what got me to that level.
yeah, so what happened when you hit 8? I mean, that's a big jump.
Um, par
Quadruple growth on an already double growth summer is crazy.
right. So, and I don't know if that's right. Like what we called the growth award was increasing by 1,100 units.
Yeah.
So I went from like 1,900 to like 4,400 my second summer,
Yeah.
and then increased like another 4,000 and something
So
the
you
third
doubled.
summer.
Yeah, that's still
Right.
crazy.
So that's what we called like quadruple growth. Was like, oh, we improved by 4,000 units.
Yeah.
But anyway, asking for referrals, that was the big difference maker. I never asked or kept track of referrals my second summer. I like name dropped a little bit,
Interesting.
but between like recruiting, finally, also like I had a bigger team that third summer. My younger sister was out there with me for the first time. Really wanted to be a good role model for her. Was super on schedule. Worked really hard. Technically was better, and I think I was blessed with like a really good turf as well,
It
where
does
everybody.
matter.
It does matter.
It does matter. People say it doesn't. It matters.
It matters
The,
some.
the only
Yeah.
way it doesn't matter is if you are an expert in selling in any kind of turf, and even then, it still matters because
Right.
even those people are like, I would rather do the country or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But
And I
yes, it
hated country.
matters.
Some people would have loved country and
I
crushed
loved
it.
it. What?
But dude, I loved Long Island because it was just house after house after house after house after house. And I could go talk to a
Interesting.
hundred people and I could get blown out at more than half of them. And I wouldn't care. I was rejection proof. And in Long Island, man, people were really aggressive when they answered the door. They're like, "Can I help you?" They were not trying to be helpful.
They didn't mean
and
that question.
right, they didn't mean it. But if you knew somebody, and you dropped names and you had a good customer that mattered, boy, they would do a 180 real quick. They'd become your best friend. They'd be like, "Oh, you know the Hogans? They bought these books from you. Well, you're cool. You're practically family. Come on in." So,
Interesting.
so I got technically better as a salesperson, and that helped a lot. I carried a little green book with me, where at the end I was like, "Hey, everybody's just putting at least 3 to 5 names and addresses in here and their phone numbers." Sometimes I would call them. A lot of times I wouldn't even call them, but I would just put like a happy face through each one as they bought, and I'd be like, "See, look, these are all my referrals that have bought. Here you go. It's your turn. Add 3 more." And
Wow.
carrying that little green book probably made me like $25,000 that summer.
Did you go straight to those referrals right away, or how did you know when you ran into like because the rule was go to the next available house, right?
Right.
Was the method of madness, but with referrals, if they lived across town, what did you do?
No, I mean, I would just see them when I got there. If they were close enough, but and still in the same school district, I might kind of hustle and like cover territory a little bit more quickly to get there. But if they were totally far away or in a different school district, I was just gonna I'll see them when I see them.
But how did you know you would run into them? Like, would you just memorize those names, and when they were like, "Oh, that's Susan
Well, no,
Myers."
no, I mean, I looked in that book all the time. They would have like the names and the addresses, and I had like a convoluted mapping system where I would like number the pages and
That
and
oh, dude,
y-
that mapping system, I
right,
had that. My
yeah,
I
I
am
liked it
so
actually.
proud of my mapping system,
Yeah,
which I
same.
think is better than Sales Rabbit. Uh,
It's faster, to be honest. It's faster.
it
Yeah,
is. It is
and
because
less distracting. Like
it is
having a
so much fun.
stupid phone.
Now,
Yeah,
I know about an hour ago we were preaching about if you don't get into
I
titles,
know.
you're gonna fall behind. But this is one of those situations where the system that you create for this and that you understand is custom made to you and your brain. And so
Right.
that's a problem with Sales Rabbit sometimes, which is kind of the same problem with HubSpot is it's so
Mhm.
robust that like
Yeah,
when you need a tailored version, it doesn't really work as well. You could do it.
yeah,
And there are perks that you don't get when you're making your own paper maps, like the fact that in the rain it's a lot easier. But like
yeah.
when you have a solid mapping system, there's like other aspects of the community that you catch because you're paying attention more to where you are instead of just following a
Right.
blind Google map or whatever it is. I
Yeah.
interesting.
Especially like I was able to actually navigate my turf my first couple of summers
Yeah.
until I got even just getting a GPS helped me blank a lot of it and not know my territory as well.
Yeah.
But it was a very interesting time. Like GPSs didn't exist really my first few summers.
Yeah.
Smartphones sure didn't.
And then
I'm
now.
sure if like I started over and just started out using Sales Rabbit, I would love it and think maps were
Yeah.
stupid. But I still like maps. But the
There is
point was
something about it though. But anyway,
I,
go ahead.
I I could tell who was coming. I was looking ahead to it. I would know like when I was going to get to that street because I would get their name and their address, um,
Hmm.
and I would be looking forward to that street. And I had like my names organized. That's what I was really proud of. Like I had all the first and second graders in their own little spot, all the third and fourth graders, all the fifth and sixth graders, and then like ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, like all organized. So, dude, I was dangerous at the door. I
Yeah.
remember that third summer, dude. The first place I started by mistake was in the biggest brick that my territory had to offer, a slightly
Nice.
different school district, just like one street over, and immediately got blown out by this lady that was like, I called her a teacher. I was like, "Oh yeah, a lot of parents and teachers are getting this for their kids." And she's like, "I'm not a teacher. I'm a professor. My daughter is going to Stanford, or my daughter's going to Harvard, or whatever." Like this lady was so proud and so offended that I called her a teacher, not a professor. And but she had a ninth grader, and I finally came back to that house at the end of the summer, and it was pouring rain. It was like 8:39 at night. It was dark. Uh, there was nothing going in my favor except she wouldn't even open the door. It was like through the door where I was like, so and so got these, and so and so got these, and like, yeah, all the other honors and AP kids in ninth grade got these, and they all said that your son's the smartest kid in school. He needs to see these, I hear the kid in the back, "Mom, those are all my friends. Open up, let them in."
Nice. But when
And
you're
then she,
so oh, dude,
and then she bought.
there is nothing more powerful when you're in sales, particularly in door-to-door sales, but I think any sales,
Oh
than
yeah,
when names click and they're
right,
three-dimensional and you know them, like you truly know them. You don't just say them.
right,
You're like, there's like something about them that you know. It's cool. It just feels so
yeah,
good because you're like, I'm a professional lady. You don't understand.
right, yeah,
I'm not peddling nothing. You are missing
right,
out by not talking to me.
exactly.
So you better talk to me. And if you don't, that's cool. I'm out of here. But boy, that sucks for you.
Yeah, you don't want your kid to miss out on this. You
You don't,
don't want the only kid in school to not
yeah.
have these.
By the way, you don't say this. You don't say this, but that is how
Right.
you come off because there's so much power.
The swagger.
Like,
That's the
I
swagger.
know what I
Yeah.
am doing, and
Right.
you don't know what I am doing. And if you knew, wow, I would agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it's so cool. And or it'd be fun when you're like, "Oh, yeah, 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 Tammy? Yeah. Oh, her and John are getting a divorce." And the mom would be like, "What? How do you know that?" And you're like,
I
"'Cause I
I did
know."
get into some trouble with some of that stuff one time when I came back at the delivery at the end of the summer. Like my names were a little too 3D. She was like, "You weren't supposed to be telling people my business."
Yeah.
And it was something I thought was pretty innocuous. Like she had surgery on her throat or something. And and it was
You
hard
went
for her to talk.
4 dimensional. You went 4
I went too far. So I was like, okay, we're gonna stick to talking about the
Well,
teachers and the subjects and the school and the sports and like
yeah.
why the kids use them. We're gonna stick
Yeah.
to that.
It was
I
especially
learned that lesson.
cool when you would use, like, teachers' names that you had
Right.
buffing, like, "Oh, you're gonna have Mr. Thompson next year? Oh, he's tough with algebra." The kid would be like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, how do you know?" Like, it's so cool. Oh, it's
Yeah.
the best. It's the
And
best.
I got pretty good role models that first summer. Colleen was such a professional and an expert that I shadowed her my first day. I didn't even work on my own. And she sounded like she knew the school better than anybody that lived there by the end of the day. She asked all those questions and
Yeah.
learned who the tough teachers were,
All
who gave out the most homework. She knew all that by the end of the very first day.
nobody that sold and I never did this, so I don't know, but I am guessing, pretty confident in this. Nobody that sold more than 8,000 units did not know that stuff.
Right.
Like, nobody.
Yeah.
If you broke down every person that sold over 8,000 units, it's for sure anybody who sold more than 10. Probably anybody who sold more than 5. And you were like, "Hey, how did you do that?" Uh, every single one of them would be like, "I knew my turf. I just knew it." You knew what
Hmm.
mascot the high school was. You knew what
Yep.
sports they were good at. You knew what sports they were not good at. You knew about the coaches. You knew about the teachers. You know about the current like. There's a bond issue at the school district, and it's a pretty big deal right now because some people are mad about it. Some people are excited about it. The superintendent is new. Whatever. If you knew all that stuff, it would be suicide to try to hit big numbers and not have that. Like,
Right.
what are you doing? So yeah, very cool stuff, man. This is some good
Yeah.
nuggets of wisdom right there.
And it's all coming back now too because like I said, I still do have a few clients that I train with sales, and lately it's been these guys that do door to door roofing sales, and that really was my favorite scroll, the persist until I succeed. Because just last night the guy was like, if somebody asked how I would describe you, Brandon, I wouldn't say that you were like intense, but I would say that you were like persistent, pleasantly persistent. Like, no matter what, you were going to stick it out and make sure the job was done. Go the extra mile. Stick with me through the end. Like you're persistent. I
Yeah,
was like, thank you. That's what I'm going for.
yeah. Yep.
And
That's exact. That's great.
sometimes it is just the mentality, the persistence. That's a huge part of it. Um, I was sharing with him a book that talked about your talent stack, and you kind of hit on this earlier, like developing skills, how important that is. Um, and so I kind of like named some of them already. Like we talked about dropping names at the door to have a good approach and to get a good sit down, but then like asking good questions and knowing your turf, that's part of your skill stack. Getting and asking for referrals is part of your talent stack. And then you can develop that into a business person and a salesperson for the rest of your life, where you could learn Facebook and Google ads. You could learn how to do podcasting and sound and video. Like that's
Mhm.
adding to your talent stack. You could learn how to write words that sell, right? You could learn how to sell through an email or through a sales letter,
Yeah.
instead of just face to face and door to door. And you're really like getting, and then eventually you throw AI and the other
Yeah.
stuff into it that we're
Properly
talking about.
prompting
Give
AI. Yeah.
yourself right,
Mhm.
give yourself leverage and just keep stacking skills and talents, and you can add more value to the world and
Yeah.
make it a better place.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Beautiful work. Damn, man,
Yeah.
that's so cool. I love it. All right, let me get into some rapid fire questions with you,
Yep.
and then some ponytails. Cool. And I'm sure there's
Cool.
stuff we didn't touch on, but all that means is you get to come back. You get to,
Sweet.
you get to come back if
That
we
sounds
miss
good.
something. Yeah, because we don't want all the stories right away. Otherwise, we could be here
Sure.
A for hours, and B,
Right.
maybe well, we are trying to do like a run of sibling episodes. So
Nice.
so
Yeah, I'll leave some meat on the bone for my
yeah,
sister. She
yeah.
can she can pick up the baton.
Yeah, that's for sure. But it'd be cool to do like the Powers brothers, the Hertig brothers,
Right.
you and your sister, right? My brother and I even that'd be kind of fun. Uh,
Get the rest of the Ignuses on, man. He had like five
yeah,
brothers.
we have to have the
Yeah.
well. Okay, so for the and if people are listening, let us know, and we need you to submit some questions. So either DM us on Instagram or send me an email at admin@theponytailspodcast.com, and make sure you spell ponytails correctly. Theponytailspodcast.com. You tell me what you think of this idea, and then we'll go into fire questions. The big families like the Ignuses, the Varbergs, right? You get the
Oh yeah.
Mears, right? You get these giant the Barnetts, the Arnts. Um, we wanted to do a Family Feud style episode coming up
Cool.
where we survey 100 people who sold books and like questions like name a mom that's name of a mom that's most likely to buy and just see what they say.
Oh,
And
awesome.
and then do like Family Feud where like they so and so come up you guys and then they ring in and then
Man,
I think it'd be hilarious and nostalgic and kind of fun. So those big families, like
epic.
big families where they have like 4 or 5 people who sold,
Yeah.
we're gonna save them for that. Um,
Nice.
yeah. So stay tuned. Um,
Cool.
all right. So some rapid fire questions. By the way, it's just whatever comes to mind first. It doesn't have to be like accurate. And more than
Yeah.
some of these you might not even it might not even apply to you. So you could just also just say, oh, pass or I didn't don't have one. So you don't need to you know don't feel
Cool.
pressure to answer it. So okay. So of all the territories, states by state that you sold in, what was your favorite?
New York.
Heck yeah.
Long Island specifically.
Let's go. Yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't mention that. Favorite kind of turf? Country, big brick, suburban, developments, low income, high income.
Suburban and specifically cul-de-sacs. Man, everybody on a cul-de-sac buys. I love it.
I love that. That's super
Yeah.
specific. Okay. You did mention that you listened to these, so I got to ask you, what was your favorite advanced sales tape? I don't, if you could only listen to on one ever again,
Oh man.
what was your favorite?
Uh, that is super tough.
Yeah, I know. They're so good.
Probably How to Have a Great Pea Summer by Kaya.
Oh, that's new. We haven't heard
Yeah.
that yet. I mean, I've listened to that once, but I have not. It's usually
Also,
the Zizzy
also,
Susan one.
oh yeah, that one's really great too. That one's legendary. But also, I liked Corey Smith's How to Sell Books and Enjoy It.
That
That was another
dude,
great one.
underrated.
Underrated.
Underrated. If I gotta go
It
try to
was
listen
great.
to that one. I
And
so
he was like sick as a dog when he did that
yeah,
one. He was like
yeah.
he was fighting
He's
the
like,
flu. He like losing his voice,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and he still killed it. He was
yeah.
great.
We gotta get Corey on here. I haven't heard
Yeah.
that in a long. Corey, if you're
Yeah.
somehow listening, would love to have you. Okay, this one you alluded to, so I need to ask you. Favorite HQ? You said something about your second summer or something like that.
So that was my favorite breakfast spot. We'll
Oh,
get back
okay.
to that
Oh,
one.
that's the next
Can
question.
I give a little color commentary on each of these ones?
Sure. Yeah. Please
Okay,
do.
cool.
Please, please
So
do.
the first one was epic because it was a pastor. We went into a church and like he was super nice and cool. And then the second one was ridiculous because it was this sweet Mexican family that let us stay in their garage because they had like 7 kids. You know, their house was totally full. We slept on mattresses in the garage, and literally there were rats that like ate our bread and chewed through our sample books. It was just
Yeah.
like the technically the worst, host family situation you could imagine. But we
Right.
loved those people, and so one of the roommates sucked. He was very neg. He did not wake up in the morning, but the other guy was super positive and awesome. And we all did go to breakfast together. And that Mexican spot where you could build your own burritos and have all the salsas you wanted was sweet. That was the best breakfast spot. But I think probably my very favorite HQ was definitely the last summer. Like the guys I was with were great. Grandma Nichols was great.
Betty.
Yeah, Betty Nichols. She had a treadmill in the basement, and so I could run a mile on the treadmill before bed, and a pool table. Like it was just such a fun, cool place to be.
Love it.
Super super sweet, nice lady too.
Hello, Betty, if you're still around.
Oh yeah, she's in Texas. She's probably listening. I'll send her this one.
Yeah. Hi, Betty. You're awesome. Okay, so your favorite breakfast spot. Okay, so that was Second Summer. Or is it
Yes.
that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was the best
Breakfast
breakfast spot.
breakfast
Yeah.
burritos. Can't beat it.
It was some hole in the wall Mexican spot. It was the only thing open at like 6:30 in the morning, you know? So that was our option.
In Everett, Washington.
Can I tell one gross quick story about
Yes.
the second summer? On
Any
on the
by the way, any and all stories like this that you have, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Just
So real quick, on the way to that breakfast spot one morning, I had gotten in the habit of like boiling potatoes and chicken just so they like quick and somewhat healthy for dinner. Apparently, I did not boil my chicken long enough. I did not cook it quite long
oh
enough the night
no.
before. So I was in a hurry to get to the breakfast spot. I mean, I was all the way up to here, like trying not to let
So
anything come out and just running every red light, like running every red light on the way to the breakfast spot. And that was the first day that a manager was going to shadow me. Aaron Ho, we got to get Aaron Ho on here. A Ho, he's a Ho for show. He was
I
a great
love it.
guy. Aaron Ho was shadowing me that day, and we got inside the house 22 times that day, and not always to show books. So we did not call
Oh,
those all sit downs. We called those shit downs.
you get to see how good your approach is when you really need to get in the house.
That's right.
What a
But I worked the
crash
whole day.
course.
I worked the whole day. I met Mrs. Jones that was a nurse at some point, and she was like, "Oh yeah, just eat some yogurt to restore the good bacteria in your stomach, and drink some Pedialyte." And I was cured instantly. I was like, "Thank you, God. Thank you for Mrs. Jones. Thank you for the nurse."
Nurse Jones coming
Yeah.
in clutch. Epic.
Anyway, that was one of the funny things that stood out, like on the way to that breakfast spot in particular one day.
Any of those stories just
Yeah,
come. The whole point of this section is to jog your memory of stories that we might
yeah.
not have covered that we missed over the running of the
So
highway.
so 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 speaking of Nurse Jones, this is springboard into one other one from the summer previous when I was still on my bicycle. And Uriah, Kibos's younger brother, he was my roommate, Uriah Buskovich. So he dropped me off wherever my bike was. And I had left my bike with the last sit down from the night before at the top of this big old hill. I was done with this area. Nobody bought from me up there. I was so tired of it. I was ready to bomb down that hill, cross this little bridge, and get onto greener pastures. And he dropped me off. And going down the hill, I did not realize until it was too late. My bike had a flat tire,
Nice. Oh,
and
nice.
and so 30-pound backpack on the back, doing 25 miles, 35 miles an hour. I was passing cars on the way down. I mean, I was booking it,
Holland.
hauling, and did not make it for that stop sign. And it's like a
Oh,
four-way intersection, like merging onto the highway. I go over the handlebars. Books are everywhere. I had a Rubik's cube in my pocket, and there was like a hole in my pocket because I hit the ground so bad, and so like pieces of Rubik's cube were coming out of my pocket. My poor Diet Coke had gone flying and exploded. My glasses were broke. Like I had just like bad road rash on my arm. And Uriah
oh.
pulls back around. Uriah, the guy that just dropped me off, he's like, "Tobin, I left you alone for 5 minutes. How did this happen? Are you okay?" It's like, "Do you need an ambulance? Like, are you good to work for today? Like, you probably shouldn't keep going. Like, are you concussed?" Like, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Nah,
dude.
it's so." I was like, "I'm actually feeling pretty fine. I'm not gonna be able to read street signs today. Like, I'll miss my glasses, but I have contacts, so tomorrow's gonna be fine. I'll keep going." And anyway, the lady that I had an appointment with that morning was a nurse, and she like bandaged up and patched up my arm and bought the books, and like
Oh,
I was
yeah,
fine for like
man.
the rest of the day.
Dude, you
And
know, angels like that in the book field just
so yeah,
just
exactly.
at the
Well
right
said.
place at the right time. Wow.
Totally.
That's a
Yep.
place. That's a book field, man. It's so cool.
Yep.
Where else is
Yeah.
that gonna happen to you in your life?
The answer is always behind the next door.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Damn, that's so cool, bro. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, favorite follow day?
This is gonna be funny and bad. Like me following somebody, like me
Either
shadowing
way.
someone.
Either
Yeah.
way.
So I looked up to Kibos and Amaris so much, so I'm gonna kind of lump both of the days together because they kind of went the same way. My first summer, Kibos was in Oregon and I was in Washington. It was a long drive between the two of us, and I asked constantly to shadow her because she was the best. It's finally like week 7. I get to shadow her finally. And I'm thinking, like, man, her names must be cooking. She must be like just dropping fatties every day, like dropping the bag 3, 4, 5 times a day. This is even better than seeing her on week 2. I'm ready. And she proceeded to have the worst day of her Southwestern selling career. I don't even think she sold a single book. I think at the end she was like, I don't think I've ever had a character building day before. But
That's what
she
we
kept,
call it. That's what we call it.
yeah,
The
a
worst
character
selling
building
day.
day is where you sell zero. And but she kept working, kept a good attitude, and it was so good for me to see that, because I was like, man, even a god king can bleed. If like
Yeah.
that 300
Yeah. Great
Spartan
reference.
reference.
Yeah.
I was like, even a god king can bleed. I was like, I could beat these people. Like they're just human, right?
They're
So it
just
was it
people.
was good to see that, even though it was a tough day for her. And Amaris
Yeah.
had a similarly rough day where it started out with bad PR. Some mom
Ooh.
was like, "Oh, I'm canceling the books. I heard you're a scam." All the moms are talking about it. It was like the worst PR, you know, and she was crying by the end of the day and asking me to like read her the letter that she wrote herself at sales school about not
Whoa.
quitting. It
Whoa.
was a really, really tough day. She did manage to sell like 7 units, so it was not quite a total character builder, but it was just so funny and interesting that the people I looked up to the most and thought would sell the most. Maybe I was a bad luck charm. I don't know,
Maybe that was you.
but
Blame you.
it was totally me. It was my fault.
You were the mom that you called the mom and told her it was a scam. Yeah.
Yeah. I was cheering for him. I wanted to see him,
Yeah, I
crush
want
it
to see
and sell
someone
a lot.
crush. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I would have loved to follow Kaya, Prime
Yeah.
Kaya,
Right.
just to watch someone just be like, "Oh, this is the fifth bag today. Cool, cool, cool,
Mhm.
cool."
Oh, she hit PC today in one
Yeah,
day.
no big deal. Yeah, that's crazy. PC is 600 units in a week, let alone a day. Some people did that in a
Right.
day. They have the
And dropping the bag, by the way, is where you flip the bag upside down and every single thing comes out of it and they buy everything. Like A through Z.
they buy
That's
the
drop it.
whole
That's
pack.
dropping the
It's the
bag. They
largest
buy the
package you
whole
can sell,
package.
unless they buy two.
Back in my day, it was like 1,400 bucks was the most if we
Yeah,
sold absolutely everything. And I'm sure now it's like $2,000 or $3,000.
yeah.
But my
Now it's
favorite,
100 units, 110 units, something like
yeah, 100 and something units in one sale. So like my favorite follow day where I was shadowed, besides the Aaron Ho one, that was funny and hilarious. When I
that.
was
Yeah,
sick.
it's a great
But
day.
my last day that I got followed, my first year that I recruited came out to watch me, and I was like, man, I better put on a good show for him. This is like late in the game, late in the summer, and my names are cooking. Like I should be doing well. And we dropped the bag twice that day.
Oh,
That was fun. But those were our only 2 customers. So I was like, oh, maybe that's kind of terrible for my first year to see. Actually, I kind of felt bad about it.
you love to do it.
Yeah, but it was still great.
You
It
love
was
to do
fun.
it. Okay, so if this is something you didn't do in this next question, then the follow up is I have a follow up for it, or like an alternate for this one. But your favorite
Yeah.
off schedule story?
Oh, this is perfect tie-in. So I was off schedule a little bit at the end of my third summer, even
Good,
though I still delivered like 8 grand or
good.
8,500 whatever it was.
That's a true
But it was
Southwestern experience. Is when
it
you
was
do.
towards the end. I was getting burnt out, man, and I'd kind of like finished up all the good school district that I had left. I was just like looking for scraps, like trying to find people that I hadn't talked to yet. Because it was like week 10. I didn't want to start over a brand new school district
Yeah,
with 2 weeks to go. So I was like, what am I doing? Just driving around, like barely done any demos, like a handful of demos that day, just mostly driving around, trying to find somebody home I hadn't talked to yet. And finally, I see it. This yard that has like a jungle gym, a swing set, the Barbie Jeep, like the GI Joe Jeep. just like a million kids' toys, like all the kids' signs, like the signs of so many kids are here that you could. I was like, I have to stop for this
There's
one.
a family here.
I have to stop for this one. I can no longer put this off. And not warmed up, hadn't had any sales that day, but the lady was just so awesome. And so were her kids. She had 5 kids from baby to kindergartner to elementary to middle school to high school. So there's something for everybody. And all the kids loved the books. They were like selling each other and the mom and me on the books. They were all like just totally in love with the books. Great family. Gave a great demo. But at the end, like the husband was sleeping and she wouldn't wake him up. And he was the one that worked. So I was like, there's no way this is going to work. Like, he's going to shut it down. She can't write the check without him here. Sure enough, lady wrote me like $1,000 check that cleared without the husband there. And then
Boom.
when she wrote on the check, I saw that her last name was Boock. It was Book. It
Oh,
was Book.
nice.
Her last name was literally Book.
Let's go.
Yeah. So that dad was cool. Mr.
Mrs.
Book,
Book.
never met him. Mr. Book was asleep. He had a great name and a great family. Mrs. Book was super cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually pretty solid.
And that was the first time I ever dropped the bag. That was the first time I ever dropped the bag.
Dude, that is epic. The
Yeah.
first bag drop is there's a cool.
Yeah.
You feel like $1,000,000 after that.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
It's belief barriers. It was
Yeah,
great.
you're like, oh, people do buy a lot. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're right. Belief barriers is huge because my my best summer after I dropped my first bag, I dropped 3 that summer, but after the first one, I was like, oh, I should just show. Why don't I just do this all the
Every
time?
time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you go, oh yeah, I should probably just because worst case scenario is you just sell what you would have sold anyway, but you're
Mhm.
leaving money on the table if you don't show the whole thing. Uh,
Exactly.
um, Okay, favorite sales day. Now this could be because you had the most units or because you had, it was your
Mhm.
best day in sales particularly, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. It could just your day on the field, your favorite day on the field. And if this is the ponytail, then we can
No, that's
you know,
okay. This is an easy win. So I only hit Mortally one time, which is selling 1,000 units in a week.
solid.
At that time, it was like $5,000 or $8,000 of profit. I forget how much
Today
the
would be
profit was.
9,000 for inflation. Yeah.
Sure, but it was a great week, right? And I made sure that somebody followed me every single day that week because I knew it would help me do even better. And I was like going for it, and I wanted that to be the best week ever. And people wanted to shout at me, so it worked out. Everybody won. But I was crushing it. I think I got to maybe like 700 and something units by Friday night, and Saturday I knew I was gonna go out all by myself on Saturday, and I thought that was good because I was like, I'm gonna definitely be getting after it. Everyone's gonna be home. I'll be on schedule. Nobody to slow me down. Nobody to talk to. This will be good. I was like hyping myself up for all the reasons. The positive affirmations were there. Like I was saying, I was a Mort man every day, all week long in the shower. And on Saturday, just to take all the pressure off, because I already knew that it was going to happen, that I was going to somehow beat my best day ever by like 100 units.
Mm.
Uh, I just focused on how many people would give me Diet Cokes that day because I really like Diet Coke. And dude, I got like 11 Diet Cokes that day. I couldn't even finish them all. But like every single person was home. Every single person bought. Like I had 13 or 14 customers in a row. They all had a DC ready for me. And
Whoa.
everybody was home from vacation. And it went all the way until like 11:30. I worked until that night, literally like almost midnight.
Oh,
This one guy that was
flow.
never home. Yeah, exactly. And I didn't feel like work at all. It was so fun. And the last guy was super cool. Mexican dude, spoke Spanish. I had terrible Spanish, but his daughter was cool and she spoke English and she liked the books. His other daughter wasn't even there, but it was funny because he had 2 Nissan Altimas in the driveway because he worked at a Nissan dealership and he sold Nissans, and that's what I happened to be driving that summer. My dad
Nice.
gave me his Nissan Altima. I kind of like bought it from him, so I was like, man, these guys are so cool. Like they got 2 of these. These guys are totally gonna buy. I already know who's here. They already know all the people that bought. So we're gonna end with a sale. And anyway, it was just such a fun, great day. Everybody was super nice and chill. Everybody bought. It was wild. Sold like almost 300 units in a day. It was crazy
That's so fun. Yep.
for me anyway. I'm sure like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
more
People.
crazy stories now,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
yeah,
no, that 200. I think my best was like 275, but
yeah,
anything past 250, any past 200, you're like, wow, that was a great day.
yeah,
And I don't know how people do 4, 550, 600. There's people that have done that too, but that's what I was talking about earlier. I mean, you do great, and then you're like, oh yeah, you're just crazy.
yeah. Right.
Like
But it
you're
it was
charging.
fun. It
It's
was just
amazing.
fun. Like, everybody was home, everybody was nice and cool,
I
everybody bought.
love
It was a great day.
that feeling. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't, nothing really feels like, even if you're great at sales in a different company later on,
Right.
nothing quite feels the same as a
No.
good flow day where you're
Dude,
just like, dude, I can't miss.
yeah, I had a month where I got into this brokerage in Orange County, and I was selling software for real estate agents, and it came from, like, an inbound call, totally undeserved, just totally lucky blessing falling in my lap. Guy interested in a totally different product, and I ended up selling the main thing to absolutely everyone in that brokerage. The brokerage paid for half of it, and I sold, like, 100K, in a couple of weeks, like, 100K of, like, monthly recurring revenue, not even annual recurring revenue. So that would have been like 1.2 million of ARR in a
That's
month. Just like
crazy.
a ridiculously fat month. I obliterated quota by like 10x. And that still did not feel as good as that mort.
I
Yeah.
know.
It still
It
didn't feel
feels
as good.
so good. Because
Yeah.
that drive home on Saturday night after a big
Right.
month, you're like, this is so, you turn on the radio, that pizza tastes so good. That one
Hmm.
night, like the best pizza you ever tasted was that Saturday night.
Right.
Because I don't know if you ever got pizza, but like it was like kind of the tradition that you go get pizza on Saturday night with your roommates because the week's over.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Whatever you did that night, whatever food you ate that night, the best sleep you got that summer, maybe all summers of your career, that
Yeah.
Saturday night. Because you just feel so good. It feels so good. You're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I love that. Favorite customer?
Man, the book family is up there, but
The both family.
gosh, I cannot remember her name. It was Cassie something. Cassie with a K. I remember her first name. And I don't even think they bought. I think it was like a 0 down week order, and she couldn't even come up with the money at the end. But she was just so sweet and so nice. And she had like a bag of frozen blueberries for me at the end of the summer when it was crazy hot and I was doing deliveries. This is the end of my first summer. And I'd never had frozen blueberries before in my life, and that was just like crack to me. Like, it was cold out, they were
It's
cold,
great.
or it was hot out, and they were cold and frozen and delicious, and just like totally the pick me up I needed. And I was just like, you know what? The people in my org talked about a service family, somebody you would just give the books to who really deserved it. Once per summer per delivery week.
Yep.
I was like, this is going to be the one. She wanted the books. They were in a rough financial situation. She had nothing to give me. Still gave me food. I'm just going to let her have the books. And she was
Yeah.
so thankful.
The people that teach you about how to treat a stranger, um,
Right.
how in fact to do so.
Hmm.
You gotta love them. Okay, these might not apply. These are last. I save these last for last because sometimes nobody it doesn't really apply to people, so if it doesn't, no worries. But if you had more than five, the biggest family by numbers that you met, where they had, you know, because
Hmm.
sometimes people are like they had 15 kids, and you're like, what? Anything like that?
I did meet a Mormon family that had like 9 kids one summer when
Wild,
I was in Washington.
wild.
Yeah, like 9 kids.
I have one, and I'm like, how do you?
I know.
Two, I can understand. Three, you're like, okay, that's solid. Four, I'm like, you're crazy. Five, brave. Anything past that, what are you doing? How
Yeah,
crazy.
crazy.
So nine is crazy. Okay. And then this last one, again, if this doesn't apply, no problem. But most famous person you met.
Ooh, I got a good one. Perfect. So when I finally got out of the hood my fourth summer from Parkland and Tacoma, I found the one little spot of like nice big brick, and it was on a lake. So it was called Lakeland. And this guy was not cool or nice, but I'd heard about him. He was, I think, the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys at one point. John Kitna, if that rings a bell.
No, that's
John
so
Kitna. He was the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys recently. Like, he was not an old washed up has been. He was either currently or it was just like a year or two before.
yeah,
He had a big
Tacoma,
old
Washington.
JK on his gate. Sorry, this is probably where I should have called him Mort, I guess, because I'm about to out. I'm about to out him. But he was not nice or cool. He was just like, "How did you get on my property?" And I was like, "Well, your gate was open this time, and I've got these books." And everybody said, You've got a nice kid that's smart and like also good at sports like you, and you should probably look at these books." And he's like, "No, man, get out of here." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh,"
I mean, he wasn't mean. That's not.
but yeah,
That's a
it's
pretty
true.
average.
It was
Honestly,
pretty
if
average. Yeah,
if every rejection
yeah, it wasn't.
was that, you'd be like, this is easy.
Yeah.
It's actually the nicest way a person
No,
from a big break like that could describe.
that's true. Yeah, it wasn't bad, especially for having a gait and like being who
Yeah,
he was and stuff. He was
and
actually
being
pretty
where you
cool.
were. Yeah,
You're right, right.
yeah.
No, dude, the worst one was this guy that answered the door with a gun
Oh
and
yeah.
like yanked my badge off, and he's like, "Stay right here. I'm gonna make a copy of this." And as soon as he disappeared, I was like, "I'm not sticking around. I'm out of here.
I'll have the co
Bye."
I'll have the company send me a new one, brother. It's you're
Right.
good.
Yeah.
See ya. Actually, we should start the rapid fire questions should start including worst, like worst rejection, worst,
Right.
like
Yeah.
some of those.
Best and worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worst HQ, worst church facility. Oh, dude, you just helped me figure some stuff out. Appreciate that.
There you go. There you go.
All right, so now this is the time. This is good timing. We're at a sweet spot
Mhm.
here. So
Cool.
right now we go into our ponytail segment, which is the last segment of the episode. Sometimes the last 2 minutes, sometimes the last 30. I'm I don't know. I can't imagine it'll last 30, but if it does, sweet. I don't care.
Yeah.
But this is the part where we ask the guests to share their most memorable story if it hasn't been told already. And we've seen a variety of stuff, folks. I think our 200th episode we picked are like our favorite 9 from the first 200 episodes. We might do something similar once we get to 300 episodes, but um, this right here is a excellent time to buckle in, settle down, hear a really good story. And so, with that, here are your ponytails, my friend. Go for it.
Cool. Well, I kind of alluded to some of this earlier. I really felt like God was working through Southwestern in a lot of ways, like really knocking at my door and calling to me. Just to back up a little bit, I kind of mentioned that I was a pretty negative, sarcastic, kind of an a hole, when I was in high school, just like arrogant and not a good person. And no surprise, I was like an atheist that thought God and Christians were stupid. I thought,
Mm.
those are weak people that need something else and they can't do it themselves. And part of that was because like family members had done some of the most heinous stuff to other family members and kind of used the church as like a shield to cover up their misdeeds. And like my dad had had similar experiences. So we were definitely throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But before getting into Southwestern, it was actually my high school, the chess coach. Like we would go to his classroom every lunch, every break we could to play chess. And he was not preachy. He was also the football coach. He was like good at a lot of things. This big buff dude, and he gave me a Bible as my graduation present. And I was
Oh,
like, cool, thank you very much. I'm not going to read this. I didn't tell him this. I was just like, thank you and appreciative. But in my head, I'm like, I'm not going to read this, but I'm not going to throw it away. Maybe I'll get to it someday. And in my freshman year, some guy who was like the party animal of the floor totally turned his stuff around and became a good guy, Christian. Asked me if he could talk to me about his Savior, his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and like what helped him turn his life around. And I was like, no, thanks, I'm not interested. I'm good.
all set.
I'm all set. I'm all set. And but thanks though. And anyway, Southwestern came along, and again, like a lot of great Christian role models and leaders. Like, I mean, the company started out selling Bibles 160 years ago, right? And I finally started to my heart softened, right? I had a pretty hard heart, and it softened, especially that third summer when I worked with a lot of those students from the Unification Church, the Moonies,
Mm.
and funny enough, like I stayed with a pastor my first summer as a host, as the host dad from a church announcement, and just God had really like hooked me up. He'd been helping me out all along, and I just kept saying no thanks and rejecting all the favors and all the blessings. But finally, softened up like in 2010, started actually going to church and being a little bit more open minded. And fast forward to the end of my Southwestern career, I still hadn't really like made a commitment, or I'd lost interest or whatever. And really, I'd started just kind of going down a bad path, like smoking a lot of weed, smoking cigarettes, like not taking care of myself. After like the summer I was done with Southwestern, basically, I was just totally lost. Like I didn't know what to do with myself, and had a crappy job. I was super poor. Like I was on food stamps, bro. Like I was super
Oh
poor
wow.
and broke. I had not saved very well from all my great Southwestern summers. I'd spent a lot of it, and so anyway, I was just in like a really rough spot, and remember like praying and saying like, God, Jesus, whatever, if you're listening, like please get me out of here. I need to move out of LA. I need to get out of this situation. I needed a better job opportunity. Like, and if you deliver something to me, I will follow you. I will finally get my stuff together. And this was like 2014, 2015. This was a long time ago, long time coming. Sure enough, the very next day, Hans Schlegel, the career center director of Southwestern, calls me up and he's like, "Bro, you're an alumni. You didn't tell me you were done selling books. I could have had you a job a long time ago. I've got three great things lined up for you. Only thing is, you might have to leave SoCal and move back to the Bay Area. Would you be cool with that?" I was like, "This is exactly what
No
I
way.
just prayed for." The next day, the day after that prayer, and I still shamefully did not keep my word. Like, I didn't straighten myself out. I didn't follow him. I didn't do any of the stuff I said I was going to do. Just continued to go back to doing whatever I was doing, and even actually got like further away from it, where I actually wanted to follow a bookman to India. He'd like moved to an ashram in India to be a monk, and some other book people had done like this 10-day long silent meditation retreat that I had heard about.
Yeah.
And I did that, and it was intense, and I felt like I finally had a lot of clarity. I was able to give up a lot of my vices and things that were holding me back and things I didn't like about myself. And it was a really powerful experience where I felt more spiritually connected. So I thought that was the way, and that was why I wanted to go to India, join that book man in an ashram, and just basically like be a monk for the rest of my life. I mean, I was like this close to moving, and then the pandemic happened, and international travel was off the menu.
No, sir.
So I instead joined a WhatsApp group, a paid WhatsApp group, to listen to this guy's guru who was supposed to be like the Buddha, the modern day Buddha. And I thought that's weird that it's a paid group. Whatever. Let's see what he has to say. And not a lick of anything he said made sense. And every single person that was in that group sounded completely insane, crying all the time. It was not the way. I was like, oh wow, never mind. Sorry, God, Jesus, you're right. This was not the right direction. I should really have listened to you the first several hundred times. And finally I prayed and asked again. I was like, man, I'd really like just someone to read the Bible with me and go through and study it with me and like teach me what's actually in there. And like the second person that I did a loan for when I was taking a break between software sales, at the end of doing his loan, he's like, "Hey man, it's kind of random, but do you have anyone that studies the Bible with you? Would you like someone to walk you through that?" And I
Whoa.
was like, wow, I was just asking for that too. And so whether it was like through Southwestern or a sales career or whatever, a lot of prayers were answered that way. And it really just felt like he was like reaching out to me and calling to me. And then that was kind of finally where it started to stick. I still made a bunch of bad decisions, like decided to go my own way and on a lot of things, and not, I was studying the book, but I wasn't walking the walk, right? Like I wasn't living the life. I wasn't like going to church or anything. Married the wrong person for the wrong reasons.
Oh no.
Who also didn't have like those spiritual values as a part of their life. And when I tried to get like us to do more of that and be more like that, they were not interested. And eventually we split up, got divorced, and finally, like at that really, really low second super duper low point of being crazy sad, um, finally found like a really good church and a really good community that was actually introduced to me from the person who sold me this house, like our realtors. Um, Introduced me to this church, and I finally started going back there. Met a really great community, really great group of people. Went from being like totally hopeless and lonely and sad to having an awesome family and a great community, a super close relationship with my neighbors in the community and with God. And finally, again, praying like, okay, it's been 6 months or a year or whatever since I was divorced. I think I'm ready to start testing the waters. And I prayed again. And I was like, God, could you please just make it super obvious and clear that this next person I talk to is totally not for me, so I don't waste another 3 4 years in a long-term relationship that doesn't work out, or make it so painfully obvious this is the one, that she's like godly and like has great values and is super loyal and a good person, like above all, and like close with you, and we can go that direction together. Um, Please help her either, be one or the other, like totally the right one for the right reasons or not.
But that's
And
actually a good buying atmosphere.
right, it's a good vibe. It was exactly. And so the first and only date that I went on from any of those apps like Tinder, Bumble, whatever, was with my wife now, who we're
No
about to have our
way.
first child.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, baby. That's
yeah.
awesome.
And
Dude.
and then one last time, one crazy answered prayer was we were driving together shortly after we were married to like our company, kind of like our annual retreat thing in Florida. So it was like a long road trip, and we were listening to some of the Sunday messages that we'd missed from traveling or whatever. So we're listening to it on the road trip. This was after we got I got remarried with Margot, and the guy speaking asked, "Hey, if I was Jesus and you could pray for anything right now, and I could give it to you, like knowing Jesus's powers, like, do you have a good thing to ask for? Like, are you asking for the right things? What would you ask for?" And I paused it, and I said, "I'd pray for a baby, a boy specifically." And she had just found out that morning.
No.
Yeah, and she was waiting to tell me until a couple days later. So anyway, all that's to say, like, prayer works. Prayers are answered. God is good. God is amazing. He's bestowed tons and tons of blessings on me and a lot of people that I know. He worked in crazy cool ways through Southwestern and through my selling career, and a lot of that was from like my own bad decisions, taking me to a really low point and searching for Him there. So all that's to say, like, God is good. There's a lot of great blessings, and a lot of challenges and hardships and setbacks are not something that we should complain about, but instead be thankful for
Yeah.
and search for, what is that silver lining? What's good, great, and wonderful about that? So anyway, that was my testimony. That was my story,
Beautiful.
kind of how it ties in with Southwestern that I had to get off my chest. So
Hey,
thanks.
man. I like I'm honored that you'd want to share it on this platform. It's
Thanks.
I'm glad that there the ponytails is a place where you can share something like that, where people can come share something like that, because it's powerful and you never know. There's people listening that they were looking for inspiration, they were looking for hope, and
Mhm.
there's a solid chance someone finds it because of your story. So I'm thankful that you would come and want to share it here, and I'm proud of it, man. That's
Thanks,
amazing.
man.
My faith was also came from the book field, so I can relate to that so much, and it's rooted in a lot of the great things that I've been blessed with too, have been because of prayer. And sometimes the prayer was no, the answer to the prayer was no, and I needed
Sure.
that as well, you know. And so,
Yeah.
um, very cool. Also, met my wife on a dating app. Also, just
Oh,
or my baby. So, dude,
dude, are you me?
we
Are you? What the?
great beard, perfect smile. Come on,
Oh
what are we
yeah.
doing? What are we doing?
Yeah. I just need to get back in. I just need to get a tan,
Just
and then
yeah,
we.
well, and lose your hair. But other than
Okay. Well, all right. Well, trade offs.
dude, no, but
Yeah.
honestly, that's a powerful story, and I'm glad that you shared it here. And
Cool.
like even your baby boy, it's like that's awesome, dude. That's so cool.
And
I
I
know
knew
that
we was.
Joe is someone
Boy.
who's like pretty faith based too, so that's probably
Oh yeah.
that's great to be in a community with someone in business that kind of has
Totally.
share those values with you. And
Yeah.
um, not that that's required before somebody comes and be like, "Well, I'm Jewish," and I'm saying that. I'm just saying like,
Right.
but when you
It's just
share
great.
core
Yeah.
values like that with someone,
Exactly.
it's positive. It's never negative. Um, so regardless of what your faith is or isn't,
Whether it's your spouse or your business partner or whatever, right? It's just good to be on the same page about those
it's
things.
it's a wonderful thing.
Yep.
Heck yeah, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for being on here. And folks, this concludes uh this episode of Ponytails Podcast. If you are listening to this and you need to get a hold of either Joe or Brandon, just make sure you guys go on. There's a link below. Just scroll down wherever your Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. Scroll down. There's gonna be a link there that you can get a free consultation to get into their CRM if you want to ask them questions. Keep in mind that we do have the Independent Alumni Network that's coming. We are working to build that out organically, and so stay tuned for more of that detail. And of course, this is the first episode where we announced this, so we should have done this at the beginning. But we are moving Bizzler, postponing it to next May on Memorial Day weekend. We are still going to Greece, a much better resort even than the one we had before, which seemed impossible, but somehow we were able to do it at a really great price. So hopefully we'll see you guys there for that one. My name's Andres Gamboa. This has been the Ponytails Podcast. Bye bye, everybody.